Do it again when she comes on. Yeah.
Pork and beans day.
In a can.
In a can. In a pan. Any way you can.
How do you like my new thing when I hold up the super gigantic
I love
tin of
it,
pork?
man. That's the pork and beans all the way, man.
That's what we're
That's
gonna
what it's
do.
all about.
I'm gonna do that
Product
every show.
placement.
Right after the oh, you gotta
Can you see me? What do we got?
Where's Mr. Camping with Sasquatch? He's on here.
Maybe he's got a camera thing not pushed on.
Ask start video.
Camping
He
with
does
Sasquatch.
podcasts and stuff, so he's got to know what he's doing.
There he goes.
Can you see me?
Yeah, I can see all of you.
Yeah.
What you got there? Big van, SUV. Look at that thing. It's got a booby hatch and everything. What? You gotta
Yeah.
want to make an escape. You gotta go through the top.
Yeah.
I like that.
Right here. I'm ready.
Well, we're just waiting for Arla, I guess.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, I'm on my phone. So how's my audio and stuff? Is it all right?
Not
Yeah,
bad.
it's a little tin canny, but it's all right.
Okay. I've never used Zoom before. I actually just downloaded it now, and it had a few setups, and I just kind of hit okay, and came in.
Maybe. Well, we got 10 minutes. Why don't you try to play with your mic settings? Is there any settings? Oh, you don't know about those phones.
What do you got? A little camera like that, or you got a
Yeah,
phone?
an iPhone. Yeah,
Oh, you're not gonna be able to do much with that.
yeah.
It's just you get what you get, right?
Tell me how this is right now, because what I did is I'm starting off with the AC on to see how that was, because I'm in the car. I have it all shaded in to hopefully help it. How does that sound now? Does it
It
sound any
sounds okay.
different?
The only way you can improve it
Yeah,
is if you move the camera closer to your mouth. That's about it.
Oh, okay.
But
I gotcha.
it's fine.
All right.
We're historic, but you know, we may not be studio quality.
I don't know if my glasses are. Maybe I'll go without glasses.
Can you
Brian and
see?
I got these blue Yetis. And
Okay.
yet it still doesn't seem to make us sound any better. I think it's more of our content than our quality.
I got
Yeah.
a big. Mine's a different color though.
Oh, that thing's cool. All right.
Yeah.
I'll have to get one of those.
$100
Don't you have a microphone for your podcast?
No, I just use my phone.
Man. He's in his
I'm
car. He's using his phone.
yeah. The typically the phone mic is really good. So
It is
yeah,
good.
I
It is
just
good, but you got to be close to it. I mean, within, this far.
yeah. Let's see. Pretty close to it.
It's not bad. It's doable.
All right.
Do you know
I am,
Do you know Tom Cantrell at all?
I've definitely heard the name. I've seen him a little bit. I don't know too much about his story, but I've definitely seen his name a lot, and he seems to have a lot of, respect or whatever. Or I don't know what you could use that word, but seems to have a lot of experience, right?
Yeah. Yeah. We'll just I don't know, Ma, what do you think? Should we bring Tom on or just the four of us?
I don't know.
Oh,
Hey,
hey.
oops. Okay, Zoom. How are you?
Good. It's so good to see you.
Yeah, it's always nice to see people you talk to from time to time.
Even
Yeah.
me?
Yeah.
Even you.
Even me.
Well,
Even you.
this is surreal because I'm usually just watching you guys, and I'm not used to being on with you guys.
It
Oh,
is
well,
different.
it is different.
It is different.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
just It'll just be like a friendly conversation.
And it
Perfect.
is. It
Yeah,
is.
to be honest, this setup with my phone just makes it seem really casual from my end. It almost yeah.
It is casual.
Unless you get under Moss skin, then all
Yeah.
hell breaks loose.
Yeah, we ain't
No,
doing that.
I have an opinion.
I'd be more afraid of getting under Arla's skin, I think.
It takes a lot to get there. If anybody ever gets under my skin or I'm mad, you're probably better in the next county and maybe
Yeah.
stay.
I was thinking Australia.
Yeah, because I rarely get mad. And if I
Yeah.
do,
Yeah.
yeah,
Like a Sasquatch, maybe.
okay. If I have to leave, it's because it started raining and I have to go out and close my tent up, but I'll be back.
Okay.
Well, you can just say that when it happens. Why don't you just go and close it up now?
Oh wow, I'm looking at the.
Excuse me?
Oh, okay.
No,
I
because it
see.
might not rain, and then I just have to go back to the woods. I mean, it's not right outside the house.
Oh, I get you. I get you.
And right now, I got to go get my tea.
Oh,
Well, it's great to be on with you, Brian. I have watched you for hours and hours and hours on videos. So
well, you must have been pretty desperate to spend some time doing something.
I read your book, of course.
Did you enjoy it?
Wonderful. Loved it. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, that was one of a number of things that I found incredibly helpful. Wisdom like the stuff that you passed on.
Oh, thank you. Thanks a lot.
I guess you could say that they passed it on, but passed on through you.
Yeah, I'm just a facilitator of their teachings or whatever.
I'll tell you though, persons like myself, when when you're out there alone, sometimes it's not any fault of theirs, but fear just, for me at least, might come. And someone like yourself really helps in a situation like that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That helped
I mean,
a lot.
if they're connecting with you, whatever, they're not connecting with you to hurt you. Well, as you know, I'm sure you're aware of that now. So
I'm absolutely aware now. I don't think looking at it now, I think it's pretty normal to wonder, but
oh wow, honey glazed, eh?
Duncan,
I got my Starbucks.
Duncan, this is Duncan. Let's hold your Starbucks up there. I'll try to
Dip it in
Here.
there.
yeah, dip
Right
it
there.
in. Mmm.
Got it?
Yeah.
Ma's just putting her teeth in. You got to put teeth in beans, or you got
Not
your own
yet.
teeth. You got your own, eh?
I got three. I don't have them all.
You guys are awesome.
Either do I. Look at me. Ah. Hey, that stuff's bad for you, you know.
Yeah. The
Donut?
donut. The donuts.
Yeah, they're both bad. Of course, if you followed everything that they say is bad for you, you wouldn't be able to breathe.
I was a vegetarian
Yes.
for 13 years. You know
A
why?
what?
I was a vegetarian for 13 years. You know why I quit? Because all vegetarians ever talk about, all health food people all ever talk about is how bad everything. Bad water. You can't drink distilled water because it'll leach your minerals out of your body. You can't drink tap water. You can't drink, you know what I'm saying? It's like lettuce. Oh, it's got to be organic. And if it's organic and, you know, it just goes on and on and on. There's no end to it. It's always the food's fault. So
Yeah.
I just gave it up.
Yeah. Everything.
And now you can enjoy a tasty donut. Or no, I guess you could before too, right?
I haven't been sick in like maybe 30 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Me too.
Well,
Well, quite a while. Maybe not that long, but
I just think I have a good constitution.
yeah.
You do know that we have a constitution that is
Where?
our body. It's
And
us. Our body
it
is our
has,
constitution. It's not a piece of paper. The
yeah,
piece of paper constitution is where they take away your powers.
it doesn't have a preamble.
Hey, oh, should I start the show? You wanted to he's trying to impress your ma, Mr. Beans. He wanted to show you your shirt. Look at that.
I'm here.
oh,
What?
okay, okay.
What are your next two wishes?
Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord, help me.
Good Lord.
Help me. Help me, help me.
You don't want to know her two wishes, Mr. Beans, or you're in a lot of heaping helping the trouble.
World peace and lots of love.
That's the old standard crap. Come
I
on.
have a piece of donut.
Let's get personal.
I want his donut. But I can't eat donuts, so
Well, how come?
Are you a health food fanatic?
I'm not a health food fanatic, but there are some things that do not do well with my body. Sugar's one of them. So, you
No more
know,
sugar.
yeah. But I mean, I use natural things, honey and maple syrup and some things. So I just white sugar and a ding dong. Oh my gosh. What I wouldn't do for a
A
ding
ding dong.
but I'd be sick if
I
I ate
don't
it.
eat any sugar at
So,
all. But then I don't eat any sugar at all. No Coca-Cola, nothing in my coffee or tea, nothing like
Yeah.
that. No sugar. But I also don't make fixed rules. So every once in a while it's
Yeah.
sugar, or maybe on my birthday I have ice cream. So
yeah. Oh, I do too. I just pay for it when I do it. And I know, it's going to affect me. But sometimes you just got to do what you got to do.
Yep.
I'm
I'm gonna- I'm-
73. I'm already affected. There's no more affected after this. So whatever's done's done.
I'm going to get a big old box of ding dongs to tap out and
No. And honey buns are the worst.
Mm.
And, the funny thing about that was the hairy kids would get my honey buns out of my car even. So I haven't had a honey bun in a few years, I guess.
why? Because they get them all, or you just don't get them anymore.
I don't get them. I just don't have the temptation here at home. So,
Uh,
but
I used to live in Miami, Florida, and I lived out on 150 248th Street, and that was where the Nouse Bakery Farm. They were like an Amish bakery, and they had like the best honey buns. And it was like two doors up for me.
ooh, I do love me some honey bun, but I don't eat them. Well, I haven't ate them in quite a while.
how
So
What
about
about apple
What?
fritters?
They
I
like
love
apple
apple
fritters without
fritters.
the apple.
Anything sweet, I love.
how
Me too.
about butter tarts?
I'll eat any. Actually, I'll probably eat anything. I love pies and cakes and cookies and stuff like that. But I eat very little of it now.
Yeah, Sue and I just ate a tuxedo cake. You know what that is?
Tuxedo cake. Has that got ice cream in it?
No, but it's got like I don't know. It's kind of chocolatey and whatever, bunch of different layers, and then we ate a whole bunch of chocolate chip cookies.
Ugh,
Chewy ones?
I couldn't do it. I would be in pain, and that's why I don't eat sugar, is because of the inflammation it causes in my body.
It does
So,
cause inflammation, yeah.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
I can eat it and I can hurt. Most of the, well, 99.99% of the time, I'd rather not hurt, but that
Mm.
one little percent sometimes catches me.
I'll get you with the chocolate eclair when you get here.
Well,
Oh, I love eclairs.
you know why you get inflammation is because you're too nice. That's what happens. Nice people who are really angry, if they're angry inside, and then but they're just nice, they're acting like nice people on the outside, then that anger always goes into their joints and it makes
Uh-uh.
inflammation and stuff.
I'm not an angry person either. I don't, I just, there's a lot of stuff I let go of after working with Kashima that did not serve me. And so I let go of those things. I mean, if I got angry and was finding I was holding on to it, I'm a stomper.
Yeah,
I stomp.
that's what you do.
Yeah.
That's what you do, yeah.
So,
The thing about anger is it needs to be really hard, really powerful, and really short. You know what I
and
mean? Get
let
it
it
over
go.
with, and then
Yep.
get back to the normal. We're really good at that, training the body to go extremely, what do you call it, primal, and then back to normal.
Yeah.
There's this whole
Yep.
thing about cardiovascular, and this guy was saying that what you do is said you can these people who do 15-mile runs and stuff like that. He said their cardiovascular is no better than anybody else's. He said, but what you can do is you run really hard for about 30 seconds, and then get your heart rate up and everything, and then just lay down on the ground and slow breathe until you get that. So you actually train your body to go really fast into the high energy and then slow down. And then actually trains your heart to have a really good cardiovascular cycle. So we're built for that, those extremes. First, the dog man's after you, and then it's okay.
Well,
Right.
darn.
You
Nobody
stand up.
gets after me. What's going on here? Nobody's getting after me.
By the way, Martin, we bullshit for a few minutes and then we'll don't worry, we'll get into some
That's
Sasquatch
cool.
stuff or whatever.
Oh,
Hey, so
we have a
I've
guest.
seen a few shows, quite a few.
so hey, we got a big announcement to make. Ma Cobbler's coming up to BC in September.
Yep.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Tickets bought. I'm all ready, and I'm going to be there a few days.
Yep.
Other than the camp out. So
yeah, we got
awesome.
we got a few surprises planned for you, but I'm not allowed to tell you what it is. Not allowed to tell you what it is. Other than we're gonna
get
head
some tacos. You promised me tacos.
Oh yeah, we'll be feeding her tacos and chocolate eclairs and honey buns and all kinds of stuff.
I expect salmon. I expect Sue's salmon.
Local salmon.
Hopefully. Oh my gosh, she does magic with it.
Oh, you want some salmon? Okay, we'll definitely do that. But I can't tell you some of the stuff Sue said I can't tell you, but
if you don't be careful, you'll tell me. And you won't.
No, I won't. I'm not going to tell you this. It's a big surprise. But we probably are going to take you to like Chehalis and Harrison Hot Springs. Awesome. Harrison Hot Springs, and you know that Chehalis is where the name Sasquatch, which was initially Sasquatch, originated from.
Yeah.
Our reader just gave me a nice little nudge when I said that.
I want to invite everybody in the United States to Brian Bland's camp out. What you do is you fly to Vancouver, and then when you get out, you go to a taxi and say, "Take me to Brian Bland's house."
I'll be there.
And they all know who he is, so.
Well, Beans, you better be there. You better be worried about getting yourself there.
I don't have a tent, man. I need a sleeping bag.
I imagine that could be taken care of.
Yeah, we'll take care of you. If you get here, we'll get you everything you need. Hey, Ma, do you have an extra seat on your broom for while you fly over?
No, if I'd have been able to bring my broom, I wouldn't have had the trouble with trying to book the flight. It would have, and I wouldn't have to stop in Las Vegas either. So
How much
I
is
would
Oh,
have,
hey.
how much is
I would have come
how
straight
much did the
through.
flight cost?
$454. That's everything. You even get 2 bags free.
Wow.
So I was very pleased with that because there was a lot that were a lot more than that.
Mm.
Yeah, from Savannah, it's like 990 or
Yeah,
1,000 or
yeah.
1,200. It depends on how you go, but that's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money, but Ari said I was to be there, and so I just believed that that money would come so that I could do that, and it did. And so I was able to do it. I did not have that kind of money to come either, but it happened. So,
Well, we got
I'm going to BC.
we got you camp share. You heard Sue's story the other day, right?
What? A
We got you camp
A
share.
camp chair
camp
manifested out of
shirt.
thin air.
It did pretty much, and then there was a
First,
little.
there was nothing in the backyard, and all of a sudden, the camp chair popped open.
Pretty much that's how it happened. But anyway, so what exactly did how exactly did Ari tell you that? What did he say?
He just told me that I needed to be there, that this wasn't a request for me to, but that I was supposed to be there. So, and I knew that if he was telling me in that manner, I have this thing right here
Yeah,
that
yeah.
is right here beside me, and it literally vibrates sometimes. So it was just that, this is not a request. This is you will be there. Now, when he said that, I didn't doubt that I would be there. I didn't know how I was going to be there, but I'm going to be there. So that's how that happened. But that's happened so many times in my life where I did not have the funds to go somewhere, and somehow those funds came.
Yeah.
And so
Mm.
I just believe that when I'm supposed to do something, that there'll be a way that that's going to happen.
Mm.
It just is what it is.
Yeah. And we're gonna take care of all the food, your tent and all of that stuff. So you don't have to worry about that.
This is the Pork and Bean Show. This is the Pork and Bean Show, and this is we have our guest today. His name's Martin
Hey, wait a
Lotsberg,
minute, wait a minute.
and
Hold on.
what? I'm doing the introduction.
No.
Oh,
I got it because I got the new part of it, remember?
all right. Well, this is my guest is and my co-host is
No. Okay, hang on a minute. I'll continue with you for a second, Ma, afterwards. But
He's just excited that Ma's coming to BC.
now, yeah, now, I know you're not going to tell me, but did he tell you why you have to be here?
I don't know.
That means
No.
she knows.
Well, not in so many words, but yeah, I'm thinking about it. So it'll be all right, whatever it is.
I think the Sasquatch people are going to take it out to the next level this next year. This coming.
Oh,
year.
I do too, Beans.
I think
You
that's
got
what it
that
is.
100% right.
It's because
Yeah.
you hear more people having face-to-face contact, more people are having
Yep.
really deeper. Who was it? What it was it? Barry Webster just had a face-to-face and shook hands for the second time with a Sasquatch face to face.
Wow.
That's kind of historic.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there's
Well,
other people doing, the people are bit like getting on the train,
yeah. Things have been they've been a little quiet around here lately, so that usually tells me when that happens, that means that something big is brewing.
Mm.
Because when you come out of those downtimes, it's like, holy smokes. And then you have a bigger knowing and all kinds of stuff like that. So anyway, hello everybody. My name is Port Cunningham. And I'm here with the world's handsomest man, Frank Oliver Baines. And as I said, we're the Pork and Bean Show, and welcome aboard. We got our cohort, Ma Cobbler, who's pretty well a regular host. You're on a lot of the shows. And today we're honored to be joined by Martin Lotsberg, or Camping with Sasquatch guy. He's got his own channel on YouTube and stuff, and has a
I'm
great
hiding out.
relationship with the Sasquatch. And we're gonna find out about that and talk to him about his experiences. And I just wanted to say, Martin, if you can make your way up here in September,
I would love to.
you're more than welcome to. I mean, you could drive up or whatever. I don't know if it's possible for you, but like I said, it's free. I pay for everything other than
Wow.
you got to feed yourself. I only feed Ma because she's like she's family, but I get a taco or two from Mr. Beans too. I'll probably throw you a hamburger or something if it came up.
That'd be amazing.
Can you make it?
I don't know. I can't play it too far really, but I'd love to if I could.
Okay. Well, I'll keep you in the loop, and
Wow, thank you.
I'll
All
let
the
you know
taxi
when.
drivers know where Brian Bland's house is. You just got to get to the airport.
I know Ma knows why RE wants her up here too, but you can't get it. You can't get nothing out of Ma if you don't want to talk.
Well, that white-haired boy is nosy.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, this would be perfect. I would like to, this show is predominantly going to be about Martin, and we're going to interact and stuff. But at some point, I would love for you and me to relate your first meeting with RE. Arla, that would be fun. You'd like to hear that, right, Martin? That was really cool. But first of all, we've had you on hold for too long, so we'll get into you. So, hey, Martin, how you doing?
Good. It's an honor to be here with all of you. Thank you.
Wow. Okay, well that was a good show. Next week our next week our guest is no, anyway. But so what do you tell us? Go from the beginning. Did you just have like an introduction, or have you always been kind of interested in dabbling in this kind of this field and whatever, and been interested in paranormal and woo, or whatever you want to call it, and stuff of that nature? How did things develop for you?
I've been interested in this lightly for a long time, but not very seriously. It sounds interesting in the back of my mind. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. But it was around a year and a half ago. I was just driving back and forth in Florida, doing work, and I'd listen to stuff, and something like, I think it was a Mr. Ballin video came across, and it sounded interesting, and I was listening to that, and then I saw like a how to hunt video, and I watched that, and I thought, is this serious? And this was about a year and a half ago. So for me, I came to realize they're real almost exactly 1 year ago.
Where do you live?
On the road, but I'm circling around the Midwest. I'm a full-time camper.
Wow.
Yeah.
You were saying you were in Florida, and I used to be in Florida, and I'm in Georgia, so that means you would have been. But I didn't know that's who you're just like a traveler.
Yeah, I've been a YouTuber for a few years with car racing. And when the tracks up north closed down, I just go to Florida for the winter. And that's where the racing is.
Sweet. And there's a lot of Sasquatch there too,
There is.
and a
Yes.
lot of UFOs. I saw this program the other day, and it was like just a phenomenal amount of UFO sightings going on there too. A lot of paranormal
Mm.
stuff.
So
Yeah.
you camp 24/7. 20.
Yes. Yep.
That's cool.
Yeah. During the
That's
warm
cool.
months.
So where have you
Yeah.
been? Where have you been in the last few months? Where have you been hanging around?
Mostly in the Midwest.
Oh, okay.
A few different campgrounds. Yeah. Um, I don't know if it's I think it's kind of relevant. What led me to that for some reason now in hindsight, looking back, I feel like life kind of led me to this somehow. I was thinking about this, leading up to this interview, and it all sort of, I don't feel like it comes together. I guess, do you want to hear just years back, something I feel like is sort of related? And
Yeah, whatever.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Everything. Yeah, everything. Yeah.
I had this really colorful night in college about 28 years ago where I was drunk and got arrested and expelled from school and all this stuff. And
Yeah. Yay.
so as a result, I got sober. And eventually in AA, they talk about a higher power. And I eventually became really interested in that and did a lot of spiritual seeking. And I'm sure Mike and I know we've sort of chatted in comments once in a while on some videos just about some spiritual stuff. But anyways, so a couple of years back, I just sort of, I'm camping because I've been homeless for like 4 years, technically. I just had some tax stuff that I was way over my head. And um, the point of all that is I kind of went through a whole country music song, got evicted, car repossessed, left my son, had to give the dog away, all that stuff. And I'm this sort of bare, hurting, I don't know what to do, full of stress, really bad. And I kind of realized camping is really the only way I can go about this. And then at the same time, that was about just over a year ago. And I had developed this really, I wonder about this now, this passion for the Sasquatch. By the time I was heading out camping, I had to know. I don't even know where that came from. Some people think, I'm sure you've thought of where that could come from, like that in your heart desire for the Sasquatch. Like it was a burning passion. And all I'd done is listen to YouTube. And I began camping, and I can look back now at where I came to believe. I knew that I had them around me one night, but now looking back, it happened before that night. So it actually happened even the very first night I was camping, one night in Arkansas in the Ozarks. I didn't know. I did definitely at that point. I had been listening to How to Hunt like for hours and hours and hours and other stuff like that, and kind of get some ideas. And so I did kind of look like this looks like for what they talk about, they could be around here. And what happened that night was simply maybe 1 a.m. I was sitting there, and I heard footsteps just go right behind me. And anyone that's been solo camping, it's pitch black. I have no cell signal. There's no lights. The fear that can come across you in a moment like that, I couldn't even move. And I didn't know what it was. I thought bear maybe, but I knew it wasn't a person where I was. There was no flashlight. And so I can look back on a number of different camping on the way, where I wonder about some things like owl calls. And but then there was another distinct night actually in Missouri where I was once again middle of the night, and I just heard this huge break right next to me. I had the window open. It was pitch black, and I'm already a YouTuber. What I do is film everything, and it basically was cars, but I was actually thinking I'll do like maybe camping stuff. And I'm kind of lightly thinking, yeah, maybe some Bigfoot videos. Who knows? Like, not any expectations of, I don't know, just so, because I told my sister about the footsteps and that brake sound, and she's like, "So did you like record the footsteps?" And I'm like, that was the last thing that crossed my mind, was to like record. Like, oh my gosh, like I just froze. I was, and then when I heard the brake that night with the window open, I'm sitting there I don't even dare to turn my head. I'm like, okay, I really didn't have a thought of what that was. Really. I'm like, do I wind the window up? Do I turn my flashlight on? It was right there. Now the thing is now I look at that so differently than I did then. Like, for me personally, after having heard of just so many tree falls, tree breaks, all that type of stuff, I love that. I actually, everyone sees that differently. For me, it's like a greeting. For me, it's this confirmation, like for me, I'll hear sounds and I'll be like, I think they might be here. And then you hear the tree break or a branch fly through the trees and land somewhere or something, like, all right, somebody threw that. For me, that's a confirmation. And so, yeah, that was how camping started. Obviously it continues a lot further than that, but looking back, and then there's one other thing from 25 years ago, I believe it was around 2003, at the base of Mount Socorro, New Hampshire, with my girlfriend at the time. We're at the base of a mountain. She does videos, so she was interviewing people at the top. She just interviews strangers for her show, and I was the video guy. We're doing an outro at where the trail, and my car's parked right over there, about 100 feet. And we stayed a little too long, so it was pitch black on the way down, but there was little moonlight. We could see the trail. And so we did the outro, she's like, all right, it's been great. Have a good one, And then we walk to the car. I sit down, the car is facing the mountain. And when I turn the car on, something right up there, I just saw something duck in my periphery. And she lost her mind. And I was like, oh my God, what was that? She was like, go, 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 go. And then like, oh my, like, okay, it was killing me. Like, what was that? It was right in front of us. So I just, hooked and looked and backed up and got out of there. And then she's like, I don't want to talk about it. Don't talk about it. I'm like, are you kidding? But over the years, I've thought about that, because now, like, when I sit in a car and I look that way, where it was, I recently estimated about the height, and whatever that was up there was way up there, from this angle in a car, probably 10 feet up. And then I just thought of, like, all right, we heard nothing, we weren't loud, we're just walking to the car. I didn't smell anything, I didn't feel anything. Now, what kind of animal, obviously something paralleled us for it to be in front of the car. What would do that? And now I wonder, could it have been way back then just a the feeling I got was just something curious, not threatening, just, I just ducked when we turned the light on. And
How far away was it from your car?
it was close. 25 years ago, 20, 30 feet, I would say.
That's
Maybe
really close.
Pretty close, because at the parking lot, you park, there's a little grass, and then there's the trees right there, and it was just like right behind the tree. I still don't know if she saw, like, actually looked, because I was looking straight ahead and it was in my periphery. I just saw something duck, and I don't know, but I thought, okay, woman's intuition, I'll just trust that and we'll go. But man, oh man, for 25 years, I've wondered what was that. So
yeah, we were talking, what was it, 6 or 8 months ago, and I remember
yes,
you were talking about your sister and your interaction, whatever, with her, and you were just kind of getting into it pretty deep at that time, right?
yes, yeah, literally a year ago.
Yeah, and I remember you're really excited because as we were talking, you were getting all kinds of confirmations and stuff going on as we were talking. Do you recall that?
Oh yeah. I mean, there's a couple people who I've spoken with and things picked up right away. You, Greg Yost. Oh my gosh, what happened when I talked to Greg was unbelievable. And yeah, I was yeah, I absolutely felt my interpretation was sort of an excitement coming from the forest. You know, I didn't see like Sasquatch dancing around doing jumping jacks, but you know, a lot of people could dismiss a lot of it as, oh, how do you know that was them? But that was my feeling. Plus the energy, the love zap type of stuff, and
Yeah, well, that's pretty undeniable.
yeah,
You know, when you get that kind of stuff. Yeah.
So
yeah,
you had a love zap?
yes, yeah.
That's off the charts.
I
Well,
actually,
I'm
you know,
envious of you actually because I'm envious of you traveling around like that. Because there's one thing that I'm almost 100% positive of, and maybe Arla and Brian can back me up, is that any campground you go to, if it has a walking trail on it, there will be Sasquatch sign there. I mean, anywhere in America that you go,
1,000%.
if there's a
If you look
walking
at
trail for people to get out and walk around,
yes,
you'll see
and
you'll see X's or tree structures or something that's going to be there.
what fascinates me when I've gone to some places is right where you park. You can see
Right where
like,
you park, within 100 yards of where you
yeah.
park.
And then sometimes one place I got excited because I saw like stuff like British Columbia, you know, massive stuff crisscrossed. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like a 40-foot TP, 50 feet up. And I thought, wow, this is going to be amazing, you know? And that was visible from the parking lot. As I go a little bit further in, there's really not much. It was like the big, bold structures were visible from public view. And I wonder about that. You know, do they want, is that, you know, I'm sure you've listened to Leanne Carnegie, she probably considered one of the structure masters out there. Speculate, you know, do they want us, you know, there's so many theories about structures, and but I can't help but wonder if they want at least some people to see them from public view.
Absolutely.
I think
Yep.
well, I wrote about that in the book, right? In my book. There's a bunch of different reasons for the structures, but one of them is a gentle introduction to people. It's like, hi, do you see me? If you see me, can we become friends? You know, like kind of thing. And they're just, it's and also they like the energy of people when they're having fun and camping and stuff too, right? So that's another reason.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I've listened to Leanne, and she sits there, you know, in those amazing locations, and she just ponders, and she says she can see them, seeing children or even adults just look at them and just be fascinated. And she feels that could be possibly one, you know, one thing about them is just and like a soft introduction. You know,
Yeah.
people going, who did this? Did people do this? And then
Yeah.
if you really look, it's like, if you really look, she's pointed out some things in structures that are almost impossible. Balancing and just she'll
Yeah.
find something like, how is that even? Wow.
Yeah, she's a good friend of the show. We've had her on a couple times. I remember last time we had her on, we were talking about string and structures.
Yeah.
Because they'll use
That was amazing.
whatever's around. And so we just had her on, and I went out into the woods, right after the show, and I was telling you about some of my experience with string and some of the messages I got relating to gloves and string and instructors and stuff. And so I go out into the woods and I seen a great big structure right away with a bunch of string in it, and it was in a place that it hadn't been there like a day or two before. You know, so it's just amazing how they give you those confirmations when you're talking about something, and then you go out and they'll give you the answer, or they'll give you a confirmation and that they're listening, or that there's a lesson behind it or something. And it was just I always thought that kind of stuff is amazing. But yeah, she's great. She's a really great person.
Amazing.
To,
You
to,
know,
to understand that, it's really good to layer it on top of the ET UFO phenomena. Like, why do these guys come across the galaxy and fly around with their lights on? You know, why do they go to schools? Why do they go to military installations? Why
Yeah.
do they go to airports? Why do they go to, you know, prisons? They go to mining. You know, so it's like they fly around all these places. They actually want to be seen. It's it's to acclimate us to them being around without being invasive. And in a large way, what the ETs are doing, have done in the last 80 years, the Sasquatch are doing now. And we're
Yeah.
just now coming a little bit out of the monster. You know, most people are, they still have Monster this and Monster Mountain, Monster Valley, Monster Creek, Monster, I don't know, Outhouse. I mean, everything. But they're coming out of that. And, you know, so
Well,
those guys are kind of working on the same team for the same reason.
I'm going to
Yeah.
add something to this discussion. When they did the video of Patty, that was done for a purpose. That was not
Yeah.
a chance meeting.
Wow.
She did that with a purpose.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And I had a friend that did the astrology chart for that time. And that was all about bringing things of truth to people. And we were ready at that time. I mean, there were even correlations in the chart of Aquarius and those types of things that open us up to see things. So, you know, I've heard people speculate that, well, she didn't care is why they saw her. Well, from my understanding, it was done with a purpose, a very definite purpose, to, like the structures, to get people to look, to get people to talking, to get people to sharing. And
Yeah.
so those are the things that have been happening and are really happening now for so many people.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Wow.
Well, we've known that and talked about that for a while, right, Ma?
Yeah.
That was like it's like it brought it into our consciousness. The Sasquatch topic brought it right into our consciousness, and everything just snowballed from there. You know, I mean, after that that film, Sasquatch was part of our
Yeah.
part of our lore, and part of you know, people were interested in it. People wanted to find out more, and that was exactly what it was all about.
Yeah.
But,
It was in your face.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
You
No, the
had
Sasquatch
to
are
reckon.
famous for being very fast. I mean, they can run like 30, 40 miles an hour. She didn't run.
No,
Mm.
no. And she was making sure they were watching her. When
Wow.
she turned around to look back, that
Wow.
wasn't, oh, I got to see where they're at. It was making sure of what
Yeah.
they were doing.
Wow.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know,
Wow.
just wrapping up the structure thing. There's also energy components and there's different purposes for them, of course, too. But one of the big ones is just like the Patterson film, is an introduction, because you know they got a message for us and they're trying to introduce themselves to us. And that what better non-threatening way to do it than that? like I see all kinds of structures up where I am, and then you can see sometimes kids will go in there and start playing with them, and they'll start both doing stuff, like the Sasquatch will do something, the kids will do something, and it's pretty magical, right? And then there's a connection and going on there, and
it's about engagement. Going back to the early days of the UFOs. They used to land. They used to drop metal. They used to drop stuff out of the craft, and they'd have and so everybody was like crazy about taking pictures of the burnt grass and all this kind of stuff, and it's about being seen and getting engagement. That's what crop circles are about. Getting engaged. There's
Yes.
people who
Yep.
devoted
Yeah.
their whole life to crop circles to get engaged to this paranormal stuff.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's the exact same thing. Oh, by the way, I've got a real bone to pick with Leanne. Leanne, though, I really got a real bone to pick with her. She was walking down the street one day, and guess who she talked to for about a half an hour? Just walked up, Gordon Lightfoot.
Oh no.
They lived right around each other. Yeah, she's talking to him, and I said, "Yeah, damn it, that was my hero," But you know what? She also told me that he had Sasquatch structures in his backyard, and we often wondered if he knew about it.
Oh, that's cool.
On the topic of Leanne, when you mentioned the string, I had something really fascinating like that happen, where I might get this a little wrong, but I was leaving a comment on one of her videos about structures, about the timing of a stick break, as I was like telling her how I heard something as I was typing, and guess what happened as I was typing that? I heard what I was talking about then too, and it was just like, oh my goodness, because
So you're typing on your phone, and all of a sudden you're typing on the phone about stick breaks, and then you hear a stick break.
Yeah,
That's about as classic as you can get.
yeah.
Well, yeah, that's beautiful. That's a great confirmation, but it's not unusual when you start getting connected in with them, right? That kind of stuff happens a lot. People who have a relationship. Let me tell you. Let me tell you one little thing about the structures again. That was a confirmation for me. So I'm looking at a structure with string in it, right? And I try to use discernment, because if you don't use discernment, then everything is made by Sasquatch. You have to use common sense. Like even with the structures, I know kids make some of them, or people make some of them, but I also know Sasquatch do. So I come up to the structure and I see some string tied in it, and I'm thinking, when you see string, your natural even though I know better, your natural response is, yeah, people do that, because it's kind of something people would do to tie it together, right? Although sometimes the string serves no purpose. It's just kind of hanging there and whatever, and it's almost like decorative or whatever. And sometimes it is functional. But so I'm looking at the string and I'm thinking, did Sasquatch do this, or did people do it? And as soon as I had that thought, the instant I had that thought, which was thought placement, by the way, because they wanted to put a thought in my head to give me the answer right away. You begin to recognize that over time, right? So I'm thinking, did Sasquatch make that, or man? And I looked down on the ground right below me, and there was a perfect glyph. It was a T glyph, right?
Wow.
Perfectly centered, absolutely perfectly centered. But the thing is that the vertical piece was a peeled stick, which is common for their glyphs up here. Peeled stick. The horizontal piece that was touching the vertical piece and perfectly centered was the same string as what I was thinking about.
Wow.
is what I was pondering. So. That's the same kind of thing as your wood break or whatever. It's just it's incredible how they are in our thoughts, and they're teaching us constantly. In a really non-invasive way, because I recognize it for what it is, the thought placement. It's not invasive. It's just teachings, right? And it's gentle, and it's a really beautiful thing. But anyway,
and that's really the essence that I've perceived is that type of essence, the wise teacher kind of, highly evolved. But yeah, like I think of it like Master Grasshopper.
And yeah, yeah,
Older brother.
yeah. So what do you think of the Sasquatch now? What do you think they are, and what do you think your relationship is with them, and why are they reaching out to you? What?
Definitely a lot of questions still. I've heard a lot of different theories of what they are. A lot of people say that's what they heard them tell them. I guess I would say right now I'm of the belief or whatever that they're possibly a very highly evolved human. If they say we use 10% of our brain. Well, what if we disconnected from technology and went like some people do out in the Himalayas, just meditated or whatever and connect with nature? I think possibly that. Of course, I listen to a lot, so I've heard of. Some say that they were brought here. Kuani I was listening to him the other day. He was saying that they've been here 200 million years. But I can't say I know. I've heard that the Anunnaki brought them and combined them and whatever. And I've heard of the DNA, the Melba Ketchum, the human and the unknown, and in the male or female. And but what I hear from them, it seems from a lot of different sources, is they say that we're their little siblings.
Yeah.
Like they make reference like we're related. We're the same as I'm getting. You know how you get the energy.
You just got it?
I did. Yeah. I since you pointed that out, I've had that happen so many times. I use that as a barometer.
Oh, really? That happens to you now?
All the it has for a long time. When I'm talking to someone and I feel that it's like a confirmation. So, and there's something so touching the way that people receive that message of little brother. There's this lovingness that I've pondered, just understanding this love that comes through. I feel like there's almost feel like there's something to be learned by perceiving through that lens. I actually interviewed Arla, and she brought up some just magnificent points along that with that. And then of course, fear, because we all know how it sells, and a lot of people's perceptions through the lens of fear, where Arla mentioned the story of that she and another person had the same experience, and there was two different stories told. And it's interesting if you look, everyone that was chased out of the woods, that ran for their lives, they lived to tell about it. Now, if you listen to some stories and kind of put some pieces together, you realize the capable aspects of these people. I mean, Mike said 30 to 40 miles an hour. I heard one guy say he studied cheetahs, and he said the Sasquatch absolutely was faster than a cheetah. What's that, like 62 miles an hour? So they weren't trying to catch those people.
That's in the physical form too, right? I mean, they can move like a blur, like you can't even see them, and like in some of their other.
That's what a lot of people have said. They say that one of the scariest things that they observed was the speed, or one of the most amazing. And so I just think of, if you think of, the way I see it is we're not the apex of planet Earth when they're here, so they're, if, the moral of the story is, if they wanted to hurt us, it would be so effortless. It would be like stepping on a frog,
But you want to know something really beautiful about that though, is because of their evolved understanding of it. Even though they would be considered the apex above us, they don't look at it like that and judge or whatever. They oh, I just got a big confirmation now.
no ego.
They don't like, they're all about connection. Everything is connected. They don't like, I'm better than you or I'm more than you or whatever. It's just we are all brothers and all connected. So they look at it like that. Whereas we, like humans are so apt to say, yeah, we're the top dog and we could just do whatever we want and run a rough shot over everything because we're the alpha dog or whatever, which is bullshit. But anyway.
I don't really want to go like too far advanced or whatever without some basic stuff. I don't know who's listening now. I think my dad's watching, and hey dad, and some amazing people, Coastal Chick, Linda, Mike. But
Coastal Chick, hey, she's coming to the camp out too. So you really should come.
She's so cool. But I think
and she's an amazing cook, man. Oh my God, can that woman cook?
Yeah, I've seen some of the pictures of food. It looks amazing. Yeah, really, they have an amazing thing up there.
Yeah.
But going back to the getting sober, the spiritual path. I mentioned in the comments once about having received Shaktipat from Guru Mai. For anyone that's listening that has no clue what I just said, it's basically just a blessing from a spiritual person. They call them gurus in India. But what resonated for me was all these, if you think of what people aspire to with spirituality, it's like getting out of the mind, between the thoughts. That's what, Eckhart Tolle, Michael Singer is so amazing. But, Muktananda, all of them. I've read, Meher Baba.
I got Shaktipat from Muktananda.
And so, looking at it through that lens for me, because what started for me was the feeling that I felt at the Sri Muktananda ashram when I received Shaktipat, which is the Shakti, the Chi, the Prana, the Kundalini in the spine gets awakened by a master, they say. I felt massive energy when I did a silent retreat, and that's what really sort of cultivated it. And then I felt that same energy in the forest. The only difference was it was more powerful in the forest than I'd felt anywhere. I had, I don't know why things went like this, but I had Sri Ravi Shankar just walk up to me one time. He's got millions of followers in India, and he said something and went upstairs. I've received Mother Mira's grace. I've hugged Amachi. So I did a lot of, I went after the most spiritual beings I could find that as my path. That's kind of why I mentioned AA and this step 11, seeking a higher power. And when I think of it, because I read The Play of Consciousness by Muktananda, and there's so much alignment with what they aspire to in like all the spiritual paths, and that simplicity of the Sasquatch. Like I say this once in a while, I'll make it official on this video. The way I feel, here's how I feel about them. And this is just how I feel, just a feeling. But I wouldn't be surprised if Jesus, Buddha, Krishna were receiving their teachings. I just got blasted. But
Jesus quoted a Sasquatch quote. Did you know that?
Hanuman, but
he quoted Hanuman
with the mustard seed, and the mountain.
Yeah,
it's
not like he didn't know. There's no way you could make that quote and not know the story.
Yeah. But
who'd you say, Mother Ma? You said you went. Who was that?
Amachi, Mother Mira is really something. gosh, I feel like if I always think of people along the lines of the Sasquatch when I think of those people. I feel like they'd love her. She's so simple. What she is, purportedly a realized being who was born, born an ascended master. What she does is untie the knots in the two lines of light, the white and the red lines of light is what they say. I don't know. I don't understand all that stuff. So she actually mentions working in different realms. People have asked her, have you dealt with like negative stuff? Oh yeah. And so she says she's here to just, kind of raise people up or lift their,
Where did you run into her? Was she in the States?
She comes and gives darshan, where you receive her grace. It's, similar to what they used to do at Siddha Yoga.
So it's
where you kneel in front of her.
an Indian lady? Because I went to go see this lady in Germany, and she's
in Germany.
Right. So I went to go see her, and I received her whatever it is that she does. Pretty powerful stuff.
She looks in your eyes, and
yeah, you have to go sit in front of her. I don't really know what it was doing, but she just basically, all you do is get close to those people, and there's a big transfer of energy.
Yeah.
Same thing with Muktananda. I got a Shaktipat with his he had a big feather, peacock feather. Yeah. So you and I walk sort of the same path. Yeah, and you're going to come to the same conclusions too. Is that Sasquatch people are high as fuck? That's what it is. That's what it is. You know what I mean?
Usually when I hear high as fuck, that means I've been smoking a bunch of doobies or something. But
I was very fascinated with, I want to know about God and spirituality, and I want to know, I don't think it's fair that you people saw Jesus walk on water 2,000 years ago, and I'm supposed to take your word on it. I want to see that stuff too, from me. I want to see the fish and loaves and the Bubute by Satya Sai Baba and the masters of the Far East in that book where they, teleported, levitated. Everything they say the Sasquatch do, they talked about that, a long time ago. Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, it's got an instruction for how to go invisible, Sutra 321. Samaya on the body.
Really? Well, how did you read that? What is it? How does it go?
Samaya, I think, on the body, like focus on the body. It's really short. Just Satya Samaya, like
Satya
focus.
Samaya. Yeah.
I just know the words. I'm not claiming to, but just sort of putting the pieces together. But here's the thing. Guess when the first time I witnessed one of those things was? In the forest. And just like Mike Patterson and Ronnie LeBlanc, I was at a conference in Florida with David Paulides, Jeff Meldrum, Ronnie LeBlanc, and Ron Moorhead. And you guys are going to love the question I asked them. But so I experienced, just like Mike Patterson and Ronnie LeBlanc, hearing footsteps and seeing nothing. And they all, at this conference, all but Jeff Meldrum talked about invisibility, which I was surprised because this was sort of considered mainstream. It was at that big. And Ron Moorhead kind of explained it with quantum physics. Ronnie LeBlanc's first experience when he was 11 was invisibility. David Paulides quoted those tribes in 1924 with the Nung Nung. And he claimed that it was quite significant that 3 indigenous tribes met. I believe that's how he said it. I hate to misquote him. But the fact that they even met is a big deal. He said, 3 indigenous nations meeting over something. And he quoted, or the article quoted them of mentioning invisibility. And he seemed to, being the investigator that he is, and all facts and evidence, that is the way I interpreted his message was like, that's almost like saying it's a fact that they even mentioned that, the indigenous nations. So.
Yeah, well, it is a fact. Ma and I witnessed it. I'm not sure about Mr. Bean, but I've seen them materialize right out of thin air.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a
I
Sasquatch in the
post,
room with me now, and so do you guys. So what are
no
you
doubt.
trying to like pretend like it's not there? And then you
Yeah.
go, oh,
yeah.
oh, I got to rush. It was confirmation. What do you think that's was coming a long distance or something?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, good
I
point. Good point.
posted. I posted about that. I posted that photo I took in
Yeah,
2011
I thought
I
today
that
saw
was
that.
amazing.
about
That was a smoke
Yeah.
Sasquatch.
he was actually in the process of what I call transitioning from being in the physical to not being able to be seen. I'd seen him many times before, but that particular day, oh gosh, I don't know how many photos I'd taken that day, not of them, just taking photos. And I was down where the circle is that I talk about, and he was there, and I looked and he was fading. And so I just said, I'm going to take a photo. If this isn't supposed to be in the photo, I know that you'll take care of it. And
Yeah.
so I took the photo. Well, that was in there. And the
Wow.
interesting thing about that photo, too, his feet were not touching the ground.
I
And
was
I've
going to
talked
say that. I
about
was going to say
this.
that.
Yep, I have talked
Wow.
about this before when I talked about
He was
how
up in the
Kashima
tree.
hid me, and that when that happens, you no longer are connected to the earth at that time. You have to let go
Wow.
of that. And that is, I would be interested in reading what you were talking about, Martin, about that disappearing. Well, what was it, Sedia?
Uh, well, it's basically in India. It's sort of just part of their culture. They call these cities Siddhis.
Okay,
Just like,
okay,
but just like Buddha, he had abilities. I think they say he walked through walls, went
yep,
invisible, or
yep.
something. I could be wrong, but along those lines.
Hmm.
Jesus, there's a lot of things, putting the ear back on and the healings, and so I just see alignment with because some people are like, oh my gosh, the Sasquatch, there's how many healing stories, I think, even
Oh
maybe.
yeah,
And but
yeah.
I just like to say that these are in the spiritual, like all the religions that I've looked into, Christianity, Hinduism, Buddhism. So it's in their texts. But yeah, the one where it's Patanjali's Yoga Sutra 321. I'll even message it to you if you want.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
But I mean, you have the Life and Teachings of the Masters of the Far East, which is one of those books that some say is a myth. But same thing again. This expedition went to India. We want to find the masters, and kind of like the Sasquatch, the masters were there, like, hi, and they're like, who are you? And they're
Yeah.
like, where are you looking for? How'd you know we were coming over? And it's just like it's so it seems so similar to me with
It is.
through a
It
spiritual
is.
lens.
Yep, it is.
Yeah.
It's all the
Yeah.
same path. That's what it is. All these different paths that take us to ourself is
Mm,
basically what all of those things do. And all of those teachings, and the Sasquatch too, bring us to ourself.
wow.
We are in this. And it doesn't make any difference what spiritual way that you follow. It's going to bring you to yourself, just like with what Beans does. That helps people to bring themselves to who they really are and to let all of that other stuff go.
That
Because
resonates so
yeah,
much for me.
we don't have to hold on to all of that stuff, and that's the very main teaching that I have always been taught with Kashima, was that's what they're doing. They're bringing us to know who we are. And that's the
Wow.
most important thing because when we know who we are, that energy goes out to everything. We
Yeah.
don't keep it. We don't say, oh, wow, I know who I am. That energy immediately goes from you out into the universe to be shared
Yeah.
with people that have no idea that is there.
That's so true, eh, Ma? That's a big, that's such probably the big, well, very, very core truth to the teachings that I've received too, is that you find out who you are, and in that there's freedom. You raise your vibration, you put it out to, you share it with the world, the collective, and it's just exactly like you say, and it's amazing, beautiful.
Yep.
Hey,
You know,
I got that picture. I got that picture, Ma. Do you want me to bring it up? I got a couple pictures of no, the picture of
What happened to the can of pork and beans? What happened to that? Did I miss it?
hang on a second. Hang on a second.
I
By the
love
way-
when these shows there is no rhyme or reason.
By the way,
Just-
by the way, everybody, if you want to get your heaping helping of pork and beans, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Sasquatch BC, the true story / the pork and bean show. We got every episode of the pork and bean show on there edited, and a bunch of my experiences and teachings and stuff from RE. And hey, like and subscribe, and then come on and join our group, the Pork and Bean Show on Facebook.
Yeah.
I
Did
gotta-
you buy that for me to eat when I'm up there?
Last night,
Well,
I
as
almost,
long as your tent's like 30 or 40 yards away from ours, then you can eat the whole thing.
I saw one of those and almost took a picture of the can in Walmart and sent it. I want to say though, your show is amazing.
I didn't.
I wanted to just say, like, you know, some people are probably like, "Whoa, you're going all spiritual." Well, let me tell you, like the it's all fun and games until you're in the pitch black and the Sasquatch show up.
Yeah.
But the amount of fear is like unbelievable. The fear that but what I wanted to say, why I bring that up, is because there was nights, I mentioned this earlier to Brian, where I've told them, they know I think this, I wondered if they would kill me. And I got to the point where it just was, well, you know what? I followed my heart to get here. And if this is how I go, this is how I go. Because I can't stop that if that's happening. I mean, I'm so much into how loving they are. But man, are they capable of, wow, like they're unbelievable. And but listening to you guys it helps so much, like on nights like that when my mind I've watched a lot of horror movies, you know, and the mind can go places where I apologized, you know, I said I'm sorry that my mind's thinking this, you know, later on when I felt they're probably hearing what I'm thinking. I kind of realized, you know, they can read our minds.
I think it's fine. I think it's fine. It's just a natural progression, you know.
Yep, it is.
To get over that, and then the more, and they don't work with you beyond your fear barrier. So anyway, I just bought that tin for a prop. I'll probably never eat it. It's just a prop. Hey, so let's get into those. Let's get into those pictures. So I'm going to try to make this bigger too. Hold on a second.
Okay.
Hold on a second. Hold on. Oh, there's Ma's thing. Yeah, guys.
Yeah.
Hope you can bump it up a little bit.
Well, that's as big as I can get it. Is it okay?
It's on Pork and Beans in the group if you want to see it.
No, I know, but
so I
but
mean, for
people,
anybody that's not seeing it very good on here, it's in Pork and Beans, and it's on my page, and probably some other places today. So.
Yeah. So here we go, right here, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just actually Tom did this for me. putting the one photo together. So it's a little off as far as the one where I've marked him is a little more magnified than the other side. But you still, you can see that tree that's right there. So it's the same photo. And at that point, he has just been disappearing, right before me.
Yeah.
And at that point, I mean, he was literally gone after this. I mean, the next frame that I took, which I was clicking several photos, there was nothing there at all.
How much did you see before? How much more did you see before? What did he look like when you initially saw him? In other words,
Oh, I've seen him several times, and the interesting thing about
no.
him,
I'm saying it in this particular photo. What was he was more visible than that. I mean, I could see him,
oh
but he
yeah,
was more
he
visible
was,
than this one.
yes, he was fully visible in the
Oh.
physical,
Oh, okay.
and he was down in this area. And like I said, I've seen him several times. I've talked with him. It was funny. I was on the phone with a good friend who is a Ponca Kiowa, and I was talking about this white one that I was looking at. And he said, okay. And he began to describe him to me. And I said, that's exactly it. And he said, well, he's been seen down in the area where the Kiowas were, which is down towards Lawton, Oklahoma. He himself had been seen down there by people. They gave that exact description of him.
So this guy was fully materialized, but by the
Yep.
time you got the picture, he was just one
Yep.
step away from being invisible.
He was going. Yep.
That's cool. I mean, you can obviously, yeah. I mean, I can see him. I can kind of feel him too.
I could see him. Well, I knew where he was when I took the picture. I didn't know what would come out, but that's what came out. And the interesting thing is his head is like down. He's like, you can see his shoulders. He's down like this, looking.
Yeah.
And that's why that face is, or the head's where it is. His arms actually were much longer than that, but there was a distortion. And I see that in a lot of these photos that people have where they're in this place and they are distorted as far as the accurate physical body, would look.
Yeah.
But you can very definitely see he is not standing on the ground. He is,
He's levitating. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah.
And that's a key to how do you do this? Well,
Yeah.
number one, you change your vibrations. Your vibrations have to be changed. But when those vibrations changed, you are not bound to gravity.
Yeah.
And that's, when we're touching the earth, gravity and everything factors into that. And for this to happen, that has to be, I guess, disconnected. But
yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
So here, I'll show you a couple of mine because just for people who don't think that they can cloak and whatever. So do you remember this one?
Oh no, what happened? That's so small.
Can you see it now?
Yes, I see him very, very much.
See him here?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect outline of a Sasquatch, right? But look, he's just like a shadow person.
Yeah.
I've seen them walking by me in this form too. Yeah, there he is.
Yep.
That's right.
Yep.
But but yeah, the whole thing, Beans, all of this. Perfect. You know, I can almost see his face here almost when I think about it. Actually, yeah, but beautiful, eh?
Yeah. And Barb Shoot's got that video that
Oh yeah, amazing,
I
amazing.
remember we were in a group together when Barb got that. And, she was like, what's going on
Yeah,
here? And this was very early on, I guess,
yeah.
in Barb's journey.
Can
Um,
you? Yeah. Oh yeah, that's an amazing video, the cloaker video. Can you see
mhm.
that, Martin, or is it too small for you?
It's a little bit too small, but
But you're on your
I'll look
phone,
at.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
But you can see it, right, Ma? Because you're on your computer.
Oh yeah, yeah, I can see it very
And
well.
and then of
I
course
can.
there's this one. Of course, there's this guy. You know this guy, don't you, Ma?
Yeah, I think so.
This is the guy that told you have to be at the camp out.
Yep.
Anyway, but yeah, but I mean, we know that they can cloak and they have these abilities. So
Yep.
I don't know.
How much, Martin? How much of that are you seeing now?
Well, I actually have a video where I believe one was cloaked right next to me. You can even hear a sound, like, and all you see is like this kind of in and out of. You can see that it looks like lines of gray hair, kind of really quick.
Yes.
Like I think
Yep.
a little one just possibly. And there's a whole context behind that where I would absolutely think it was one of them. But yeah, I've seen that, and the one time with the footsteps where it was light enough where I could see where that was and saw nothing. But I don't really have that ability to see, really. Some people are able to see, I think, better, like through the veil or whatever, and I don't see that too often. As far
You
as
will. You will.
yeah,
You're
yeah,
young in this.
yeah, yeah,
Hey, man,
But
you've only
you've
been at it for
come
a year.
so far in a short time,
yeah,
as we know time.
He's like a
yeah.
mini me. Hey, Ma, a mini me. Well, that sounded like full of myself, but I'm just joking, of course. But yeah, you have come a long way. Absolutely.
Yep.
I
That
you know,
spiritual seeking business, that puts you in the category of birds of a feather because they can see you. You know what I mean? They can see your Shaktipat. They can see your history of seeking. They see all that, and that puts you in the birds of a feather with them. You know what I mean?
yeah, I feel it's funny. Another with that whole country music thing, it was a really low point for me, and I was just and in hindsight now, I feel I was such an empty vessel, like that. I feel like it was like the right mindset to meet them. Like I wonder if others meet them at a really low point.
Oh yeah.
And um, you know, I'm single, and right now I have this solo life where I'm camping, and there's actually a lot of that I've really getting in kind of into energy, and I like to be isolated. I notice energy when I'm around people a lot, and but like if I'm like out and about, like I see some woman that's beautiful, and it crosses your mind a little. Maybe it crosses my mind when I'm at camp, and I'm like, it feels like a bit of a distraction, and it's almost like it's almost like I have to kind of come back into center to be back, to like this empty vessel. Where I'm more receptive, or I don't know if I had like a family and all this stuff, if I'd even be in the right mindset. Like that stuff just takes up so much of your mind. Where for me, when I'm in the forest, they're a dominant focus of mine, for the night. I heard somewhere that they miss hearing us singing. And so one of my nightly rituals is playing music, and now I sing to them as best as I can. I don't know if I'm that great of a singer, but I feel like maybe I'm the only person that's going to sing to them. So I'm going to give them the best that I have. And
I don't think you're the
Try
only
try
person.
singing arty to them.
I every night I do after the Guru Gita, the Sri Krishna. Oh God, I just got the
There you go. There you go.
the one before, the very end of the Guru Gita. That's one of my favorites, and Om Namah Shivaya, of course. I'll have Guru Mai. I typically end the nights with Om Namah Shivaya, and I go to bed.
I think
But
you're good to go, man. It can't get much better than that.
I felt like, you sit there and you wonder, like, what's the highest offering that I can offer you? And where I currently stand, I feel a Sanskrit chant, especially with Guru Mai chanting, because I have the recordings. And then I'll chant along. I'll chant during the response part, and that's what I do every night. As part of, I have a playlist of probably 30 songs that I kind of felt my way into, as I, just sit night after night after night, just pondering what would you guys like. And for me, it just right now, it just kind of comes to music. I don't know if it'll grow past that, but and I'm happy right now. I'll be sitting there, they'll do things to let me know they're there, and I'll just think, wow, that every single time I hear stuff, it's like, that is so amazing. I speak really similar to when I read Kuwani's book. He says the exact same things I do. I don't know if it just comes to you from being around them, but thank you, bless you. You're wonderful. You are appreciated around here, and it is an absolute honor to hear you. And then I'll think, I don't know. I know a lot of us, my people don't feel that way, but you are so welcome around me, and thank you for letting me hear you. Because I've kind of come to conclude they don't have to let you hear them. I can't tell you how many times I've heard one walk up and they've gotten very close. Typically when it's pitch black is when they'll come close. Very, very tangible, but gentle footsteps. But I typically don't hear the footsteps leave. I don't know how that works, but I've kind of concluded, like, you letting me hear you is a choice. And thank you for that. And in my heart, every single time I hear them, it's just such a gift. It's almost, there's almost a part of me that's still like, wow, you really are real. It's weird, right? Like, just, it's just thrilling.
I don't think that wonder ever goes away.
It
That's it
doesn't.
for me.
Doesn't matter how many times.
How many states so far have you felt the Sasquatch at night? Or daytime, whatever.
My first direct interaction with responses was in Florida, believe it or not, after I had a lot of experiences. But I just decided my approach, I guess, isn't too mainstream. I don't try to get responses. I have a whole code of conduct I go by. I sort of piece together between my intuition and hearing stories. Like, I kind of concluded they don't like lights. So I've only once, I think, no, maybe twice, requested something. Otherwise, whatever if you guys want to offer anything, that, thank you. If not, bless you. That's fine. Whatever. But one night I was in one of the forests in Florida. I stopped, once around 10 o'clock at night, and I felt their energy. And then I heard what I've heard before, sort of like a, sort of, I don't know if you call that a grunt, if you could hear that. And I talk to them all the time, like all the time, but it's sort of a one-way conversation. Like I don't even know if I'm interested in a two-way conversation yet. For me, I don't know. But this one night I made that sound back to them, and then I explained it immediately and said, I made this sound because I think I heard you make it, and I think you might be over there. I'm just talking. And I heard this like scratching. I've heard that a few times. Like, I don't know, just like and I kind of walked a little over to that spot and just said, I think one of you is over here. Not positive, but I just kind of share my learning and my thoughts, very transparent. I mean, what's the point? They could see them anyways, but and but I don't typically, I don't know, it's just what feels right for me. I even started to feel like there might be young ones nearby, and I try not to even make abrupt movements now. I was speaking with Robin McRae's husband one night, and he goes, "Oh, you just startled one." And I went, "Oh," and I knew exactly. It was weird because I got up quick, and I sort of piecing it together. I thought, it would make sense that they let the little ones nearby. They say they just let them near humans to learn and whatever else. And so I just I'll be like, I'm going to get up and walk over there now just to not throw them off, and I never shine lights. So anyways, this one time I did go up to where I felt they were. And it was right on the edge of the forest road, pitch black. I don't know what compelled me to do this, but I was hearing these sounds that I started thinking might be them, these very light taps, almost like you're flicking a leaf. And I just went over and kneeled down and said, "Bless you." And I just always greet him that way. "Bless you. It's wonderful, magnificent if you're here. I think you might be. Did you just make that sound?" And immediately I heard it. And then I don't know if it was flicking a leaf or throwing a pebble or something, and I go, "Oh my gosh, will you do it again?" Immediately again. And then I eventually realized there was two locations where the sounds are coming from very close to me. I was right on the edge of the forest. And so, yeah, I felt them there. The first couple nights I told you about, I didn't feel anything. I don't know where that came about. I was speaking with Connie G. You might have heard of her. She's decades of experience in the Midwest. Sometime I got connected with her, and I feel like around then, talking to her and some others, someone that really was very helpful to me, Leroy Nail from the IBRO, Indiana Bigfoot Research Organization. He's amazing. You guys should have him on. But he talked about being able to feel, and then Connie, just feel them around. And I was like, wow. And I don't know if I just wasn't conscious before, but I started thinking of that. Can I actually feel them? And sure enough, not only can I feel them, but Connie said, "Hey, when you feel that tingly feeling when they're around, can you tell where they're coming from?" And I was like, "I don't know. What do you mean?" And she's like, "I mean, is it like on your right side, your left side?" And then I sort of went out thinking of that. And sure enough, the first night I was thinking of it, I was, this is kind of new to me. So I'm not like this. I haven't been into energy and stuff for a long time, consciously, of course, spiritually. But I was like, wow, I really feel like this is on my front side. And I turned around, and sure enough, I only felt it on my back. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I think I can feel the direction. And so yeah, I guess that was a long answer to having felt them in at least 3 states. I've felt them. I've had one experience where I traveled about 7 hours away, and I had been having quite a lot of experiences camping. It's pretty much always by myself. Very rarely am I like with people and experience the same thing, although that changed not too long ago. But it was like, okay, I'm like 7 hours away, and I've kind of gotten used to a bit of a pattern around me, at least, of how the night kind of goes with them for me. I don't know if it's like this for everyone else, but I hear particular sounds, and it often ends with something crashing. And that's kind of that confirmation. And between that and for me, the way that the owl sounds are coming, I felt like, I think that might be you guys. And then when I heard the crash, it felt like, okay, I think it really was, but it was exactly the same as I've experienced, like 7 hours away. And I'm sort of like, is this a different group? Do they all act the same? Or is it possible that some of the same ones from 7 hours away are visiting me here at this campground? And then once again, from the Midwest to Florida, I've had things that made me wonder that Florida is the first place that I smelled a smell at home. And it was what I realized the next day, because in Florida for a while, I did a lot of camping, hiking, and I posted a lot of those videos on my YouTube. And the following day, when I went to the same area, I was like, it smells here exactly the same as what I smelled. I absolutely smelled it at home, my dad's house. But yeah, there's a few things that have happened in Florida. Gosh, there's something else that happened from a different friend I speak with, who receives mind speak and basically relates to me that some that visit them did something for me. And so, yeah, it's probably hard to believe for some people who say they've explored this for 30, 40 years and maybe had 2 encounters in the whole time. And I get it, you know.
Yeah.
Because they're exploring them with their heads and logic.
Yeah.
They're not exploring them with their hearts. And Sasquatch are only they're interested in teaching people who are open and heart centered and whatever, because they're not interested in teaching, having us prove that they exist, or looking into it in a disrespectful manner. They're interested in showing us who we are and showing us, the heart and the lessons and that kind of stuff. So if you're not approaching them in that way, or they don't see that potential in you, they're not gonna give you a whole lot.
You know, I just recently interviewed Barb Shoup, and she guided somebody who guided me with gifting. And I feel like that was such a gift of that knowledge being passed down. And when I interviewed Barb, one of the things she said was, through gifting, she felt like she was habituating the Sasquatch. And over 10 years of experience up in the Pacific Northwest of gifting, as you know, a lot, she feels in her heart that they were habituating her. And that now I look back on how this just like burning desire to find out about them just jumped on me. Basically, when I interviewed Mike Patterson, he said when he was doing wildlife photography, he felt like maybe they put that in his heart. And I wonder at times the way it just, like, where'd that come from? Why did I just suddenly out of nowhere? I mean, it was something I never researched. I'm 48 now, and it might have crossed my awareness once every 10 years. And I thought maybe when I'm 80, I'll go up to Oregon sometime and go find Bigfoot. But besides that, it was never an interest of mine. And then suddenly I'm watching Steve Istall, and I can't stop. And then eventually I have to go into the forest. I have to go and see if I can find like a tree break. Like, is this real? Like, are you kidding me? And how fascinating is this? Okay, if these are real, you start thinking, if this is real, and there's no pictures, all the trail cams, all the smartphones out there. Unacknowledged species apart from like a few counties like Washington and where they have their protective things up there for them in Washington. But yeah, just I don't know, where did that come from?
They were calling you home. They were calling you home.
I wonder.
Yeah.
They
Well,
they
I don't know how
they
many people we've had on here. We must have
yeah.
had over close to 200 people.
Oh.
And you're the only one who's actually said, your heart's on fire, that you're burning, you have a burning desire. Everybody else says, "Oh, I got the bug. I'm excited. I got,
Oh,
but that's actually devotee kind of words, my heart's on
well,
fire." So to me, the first gift they gave you, you still got, which is the
Yeah.
burning desire.
well, I mean, okay. So my first night when I was getting more open and I was in a place that I have to give Leroy credit for the general vicinity. They don't tell locations. They're very private here with it all. They're very protective. There's a lot of people out here in the Midwest where they have a benevolent feel. It's like family. So they don't want to give locations. They don't want to put them in danger if that's possible. But yeah, I received such a response the first night, and I actually recorded it. I recorded 3 tree breaks, or 2 of them. Gosh, I've got a daylight one where you can actually see the tree being broken, broad daylight. I don't necessarily go around I don't try to film them. I was excited. I was, maybe I'm filming like what's going to happen, right? Like, it's sure enough, a tree breaks and I hit record and 2 more. And I'm like, oh my God, I just recorded that. And, yeah, but, you mentioned what you just said, Mike, really reminded me. You might understand this. I had the same desire to have a meeting with Guru Mai. And I went to Sri Muktananda Ashram for a while every weekend. I drove from Massachusetts to the South Fallsburg in the Catskills and back. Boy, I wish I thought about Sasquatch there. I guarantee they're everywhere out there. But you know how it is with them. It's so similar to the Sasquatch. You don't get to just go see the guru. I was there every weekend. And I, the teaching that the gurus teach is stop worshiping me. Yes, look to my form, but what I'm really pointing at is your inner self. That's where your focus should be, not this physical body, Guru Mai. Don't worship my. And so I sort of started to turn more inwards on my journeys out there. Forget about, who cares about trying to see Guru Mai, which is kind of how I feel about the Sasquatch now. I don't care if I see them. So this one morning, I remembered my dream and go to the breakfast at South Fallsburg. I see this woman, and I'm not the type of person who has dreams that come true and stuff. I mostly don't remember them except the scary ones. And I see this woman, I'm like, you were just in my dream. And her husband walks over and goes, she looks at me like, and I realize, oh my gosh, she doesn't even speak English. And then I'm like, this isn't going to go well, but I'll tell him anyways. I tell the husband, I just saw your wife in my dream. He just goes to me. He goes, you're going to see Guru Mai. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, okay. And this is, if you're in that path, it kind of turns into a big deal. And I had the most unbelievable confirmations. But from that, that wraps up so much with this. It's unbelievable. But so I kind of forgot about it again. I just kind of was realizing, let's focus within. Let's not, have this desire. If you're familiar with that stuff, you kind of know where that's coming from. And just let's just try to be in the moment and maybe repeat a mantra and just be here, do what I'm here for. And sure enough, the next day, he said that day, it didn't happen. The next day I get a tap on my shoulder. The same guy, look, and she was right behind me. And boy, this story really ties in because she walked right up to this guy. I was in the dorm. There's not a lot of people there. And there's only one other guy there. And she walks right up to him, says something. She plays the baby and then leaves. You know, half of us are like, oh my God, like, you know, because you want to see her if you're into that. And so I have to go up to this guy. I don't know him. I'm like, what the heck? What did she say to you? And it turns out that he's, you know, been a devotee his whole life. And he literally said to me, you know, we're supposed to come here feeling like we're actually asking our inner self a question. And we sometimes come here and kind of empty ourselves and hope to hear the answer. Well, in this case, she came right up to me and said, you're going to be a musician. And he's like, I didn't ask any, I asked my inner self this. I didn't say a word. And she just walked right. That was my question though. And she walks right up, says that, and leaves. And it gets even stranger because I met another person who's Mike, you might appreciate this. His father was the translator when he headed over here in the early 70s, Dr. Jane. And this person I met, just unbelievable person. He said he came and it was the exact same thing. I questioned for my inner self. I come and do the practices, spend a weekend and hope to hear an answer. And his question was, should I go into science or become a monk? And he received science from Guru Mai, or the feeling. I can't remember if he actually got an actual answer or just felt it. And he ends up getting into Harvard Medical, which that's kind of a big deal to just get into that school. And but I think maybe you can see just for me, it just feels so correlated with the Sasquatch, like just that whole mindset. Like they would say that Guru Mai would actually get annoyed at people when they would sort of cling to her and kiss her feet and want to hug her and stuff. She'd almost be like, you know, this isn't, get away. Like they'd say, what's his name? Nityananda would throw rocks at people that came in with like a dirty sort of aura, you know, like go clean yourself up and then come back. And then I think of Sasquatch throwing rocks and just, I could just go on and on about the correlations with the spiritual path. And
I don't agree. I don't agree so much about the rock throwing with the Sasquatch, but I don't think that's related to what you're saying. That's generally just a highway.
No, for me, it's absolute there. I can't tell you how many objects I've heard thrown. Only one tapped me once out of thousands. And it's the most loving gesture. That was kind of a little bit of sarcasm with the rocks with Nityananda towards Mike. But actually that leads me to one thing I wanted to mention to you guys, which is so interesting. I don't really want to put people on blast, but maybe a little bit, because they kind of avoided my question in public. So at the Florida conference at the end, they had an open Q&A, and they had David Politis, Jeff Meldrum, Ron Moorhead, and Ronnie LeBlanc. And I had itch. Actually, the way the question came to me, I thought, is this even my own question? Or do you guys want me to ask this? That's kind of sometimes something comes up. And so I went up and I said, because I hadn't heard of this. I said, I looked at them all and I said, have any of you ever heard of a benevolent experience where they've helped someone, anything like that? And Ron Moorhead kind of spoke for the group and said something biblical and said, that's all I got. And then I looked at David Politis and he's looking at the floor. I look again at Ron Moorhead and I'm looking at Ronnie LeBlanc and Jeff Meldrum and just thinking, so nothing benevolent. And then I walked off.
Yeah. You know, they're nothing but benevolent. You know, I mean, I've got rescue stories where they rescued me out of the woods and stuff. I mean, you've got to have that heart connection to them, or they're not going to show that side to you.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, and I'm not criticizing. Everybody has their part in this. These guys bring a lot of people in to the Sasquatch subject, and then they can do their own inner exploration or wherever it leads them. and they're doing really good work. But some people just don't get the connection part, and they never will. And that's fine.
And
They
again,
got
if you
their
go,
own
if you
role.
go back to the 70s and 80s when people were all afraid of the ETs and they're gonna,
Yeah.
they're gonna eat your face and all that kind of stuff. There's no benevolent ETs that are taking you. And now it's, in the year 2000 and into 2010 or so, uh, everybody who's ever been in contact with the ETs just they want to keep going. They want to go on a craft. They want to leave Earth and not come back because they're feeling love from these beings and from the
Yeah.
benevolent effect. It's going to be
Yeah.
the same way with the Sasquatch at some point.
Oh yeah.
That is all that I've ever experienced is something that one of my favorite people to listen to that I wish she would come on your show. I wish I could talk to her, get her on interview her myself, is Kate from the Fur and Cedar. She has the most profound insights of the Sasquatch people. And then Kathleen Odom follows up and talks on behalf of what the Sasquatch said to her about Kate. But she was talking about something that Arla talks about. Kate said she met this, obviously using the term facetiously, monster that gave her the most loving feeling she's ever felt in her life. A love, as Arla would say, that passes all understanding, surpasses
Yeah.
all understanding. That one notable time that happened to me was at the gifting spot. Probably the most, I got blasted with that once. Maybe you guys could translate this, but I was trying to think of songs for them. And I was basically sort of asking and just feeling. I'd play a song and see how I feel. And if I'd sort of get that confirmation, I would be like, okay, I think maybe you guys like this. Or later I sort of felt like songs that I love, I think they would like to listen to with me. Because something that's come to me is it's like it has to do with the feeling I'm having. So I'm kind of out of nowhere, just this song is coming to me. And I'm like, because I'm over here like looking up native indigenous flute music, chanting, opera, Ave Maria, music box dancer, just beautiful music that just I felt would resonate. And I'm like, are you guys requesting my favorite band, Led Zeppelin? And I'm walking around, I sort of at the campground by myself with the music playing in my vehicle and just kind of walking around and just feeling and just maybe dancing, just thinking maybe they'd like that. Just sort of what would they like? And I'm like, okay, this is unbelievable, because I just keep hearing Stairway to Heaven in my mind. Is this mind speak? And because I'm not really consciously psychic. I believe we all have it in us, but I not to the extent of a lot of people. So, but I still, I listen. Maybe I can hear something. I did actually have something the other day that I felt maybe was a request, but so I just kind of walked to the edge of the forest like this is an experiment. I'm like, I'm gonna play Led Zeppelin here. This is kind of weird, but and I hit that button and I was knocked to my knees with like the biggest, oh my gosh, like I was bawling.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like
And you know what?
Hallelujah.
It's not, I don't think they have a preference over what type of music it is. I think if it's in your heart and it makes you happy
That's it.
and your vibrations are raised by that music, and that's what they want to hear. That's what they want to hear. I sang them the Pizza Song by Dean Martin. And they love that.
I've got this playlist. That really resonates. Like, and these certain songs that just touch me from memories and stuff, I play those, and I don't know. It's like I feel like we're feeling it together, and that actually kind of there's this insight that just came to me that I wonder about, that I feel is maybe a little profound. And part of it stems from something Arla shared with me. With the whole lack of visuals, including myself, I may have seen one, maybe because it was sort of a ways and it was like a shadow against a tree. I don't care. I don't care less about seeing them until it's the right time. I feel like it'll be in their time. But this thing about like the positive energy, there's especially here in the Midwest, there's a group of us where we feel like, and I know that you guys agree, when you're kind of enjoying yourselves, it's more attractive to them. And Arla mentioned sending out the good energy. They like that or whatever. I don't even like to say like they like that, because it's like I'm thinking of them as one of us, and I don't know, that I feel like I could misinterpret a bit when I'm thinking of them as just a regular human. But so I've wondered about, with the lack of sightings, I feel maybe they know when they had the way that you guys say they test your fear, which I so agree, they test your mettle. Maybe if right now for me, the amount of fear that would come out of me would affect them from seeing them.
Nope.
No.
Not at all. Everything you're doing is coming from your heart. I mean, that's one thing I think all of us will agree. One thing that you're doing is not trusting yourself and what you're feeling and what you're thinking about something that's happening. There is no way in the world you can disrespect them if what's coming from you is with pure intent.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what you sing, how you say something. All it matters is what's coming from you with pure intent. I see so much pure intent all over you. But the one thing I see is you not believing in yourself, and you're so afraid that you're going to say or do something wrong. At this point, you can't, because what you're doing's coming from your heart, and not because you have any ulterior motive about this.
Hey, Mike Patterson's watching.
Yeah.
That's
So,
hey, Mike.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. And the
yeah,
other thing is
wait a second. If you've got any doubt about your connection to them and your ability to know what to do, just look inside your heart. Don't use that brain to think, well, they're not going to like this, because that's a human thing.
Yeah.
Don't even go down that road, because that's not an important thing. The most important thing you can do is do what comes from your heart with pure intent. And all of the other stuff, if you do something that maybe you feel like, well, maybe I shouldn't have done that, and I'm already hearing you say this, I'm sorry if I disrespected you. I didn't know, or whatever. But I have a feeling they're not going to come back to you and tell you you shouldn't be doing that. Like I said, pure intent's all over you.
Yeah.
Yeah. That really rings true, and I definitely am growing and believing in myself. I think you hit that nail on the head. And what comes through to me is Mike Patterson actually asked me about this quick. The one of the words, the most profound or dominant words I would say, besides benevolent and loving, that I've experienced is courtesy. Like unbelievable. And one thing I'll share, I've gotten used to just a lot of sounds, just, little stuff, little knocks and stuff like that. Other stuff, I'm not sure. Maybe it's them, maybe it's not, but a lot of stuff that I believe is. And sometimes it's quite a bit, but every single night, when I lay down, I just sort of send out a blessing. I pray to them. I always say, from the owl man, blessings to you from the great creator every single night, and wish them well. I hope all your provisions are met. And when I go to bed, it's dead silence. Like if you're out with me and you thought acorns are falling from trees, even though it's calm, but maybe you think it's acorns and this and that, but it just all stops. And that just courtesy like that, I'm amazed, because Mike, you said something about this devotion almost, and without being worshipy, a part of me does feel like, what if if you're Christian, what if Jesus just showed up in a town and went out in the forest? What would you do? Would you just ignore him? Or the answer for a lot of people, they'd be ecstatic and want to be around him. And I equate it a little like if Amachi, if Mother Mira, Muktananda, Michael Singer, who he's got Sasquatch around his temple in Florida. He's got a temple right now. There's a structure right out front, but there's this little bit of like, I'm in the presence of, I call them, I've had to coin some things of how to address them when I just start, because I speak to them all the time, and I've come up with mighty ones or great ones, and thank you, mighty ones. That's just, this feels right to me. But there is this sort of reverence of, I'm in the presence of these amazing beings, and just, I'm very humbled and so respectful. You probably figured through hearing, that I had some gifting. I did a lot of that. Once I'm going off trail or into the forest somewhere, I always consider it their territory, and every single time, even though I'm bringing them gifts, I ask their permission to enter their home. It's their home, even if people own it or whatever else. And yeah.
I think I think they also appreciate it when you just address them like, hi, friend, hey, buddy, and you just talk to them like you're talking to a normal person and a normal friend, because I don't know, like you were saying about the gurus and what, I don't know if they like to be thought of as elevated or above us and whatever.
That's why
they just want to, like, I have a little friend, a little bud, and I just tease them and get, and like, and say like stuff I'd say to any old teenager, like just fun kind of stuff. And they like that too, when you just treat them like they're just regular people that are not, like something weird and something different and whatever,
Yeah, I mean, as they know, I consider them family. But I do keep a strong respect.
Oh yeah, of course.
For me, this is not a part-time thing. Like, I basically live with them in a sense by myself. And I just, I'm pretty formal, I guess. That's how I feel now. But yeah, that really resonates with speaking to them as a equal, a friend, an older brother, sister. That really resonates. Just a loving, almost, yeah.
I'm not saying that what you're doing is wrong. I don't think that at all. But I think it all revolves around respect. If you respect them, even when I'm teasing them and whatever, and like whatever, it's always good-hearted, loving respect, right? And I think that you were talking about the camera stuff and whatever too. I don't think that they're opposed to cameras and whatever, unless you're trying to trick them or whatever. But I think a good rule of thumb is that if you're because I use my camera to take pictures of the glyphs and for teachings and stuff. If you say, hey, I'm going to be taking a picture. If you want to show up in one, feel free. Just, give them the respect and whatever. And then I don't think they have a problem with that. The other thing is we all know they can, if they don't want you to see something, they'll just take the
Yep.
picture off your camera, right?
Yeah.
Like they've done that to me multiple times.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't think it was that I disrespected them, but it was more for the purpose of a lesson, right? More for the purpose of a lesson. But I actually wanted to talk about something that I don't know if you've considered or not, but it's kind of on my heart, and I kind of got a feeling that they want me to talk about this.
Yeah.
And this is something that Arla mentioned, right when I met her, Sue and myself, and something that Sue and I have known for a long time too. Like it didn't take us long to figure that out. Like we figured it out, pretty well right away. And that is the fact that they mirror us.
They what?
So in other words, they mirror us. And what I mean by that is that when a lot of people say the Sasquatch told me this, they told me that, and often it doesn't line up with what your teachings are, or it doesn't resonate with what you think or what they've told you, and that's because it's about judgment, and it's about lessons, and it's about our soul journey, and the fact that they will not interfere in that. If you believe in something, they will support it, and they will mirror our beliefs or whatever. Because we have to find out these things for ourselves, right? We have to discover right and wrongs ourselves. So that's why even sometimes people that you may perceive as not the best people or the most whatever, they don't judge them if they've got that connection.
Mm-mm.
You know what I mean, Ma? You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
like some people, for instance, some people will say, well, just stuff that really does not resonate with me at all, and even say like I was like Napoleon or something, or something. And the Sasquatch aren't gonna tell you you're not, because they don't want to step in and interfere that much. They want you to figure that stuff out. So when they mirror us, so did I explain that right, Ma?
Well, yeah, basically, what they do, and what Kashima told me a long time ago is they come to us in our belief system at that time.
Right.
And what they will do, if we're open to that, is to help us to look at things and see what we are compatible with in our life. It's funny, it can go even to, I used to would say, oh, I hate that I did that. I never used hate against anybody else. But when I drop something, or when you do something you think that's so stupid, I would just say, I hate when I do that. Well, Kashima stopped me one day and he said, I want you to feel what that feels like, saying that to yourself. So basically, what I was saying was, I hate that I'm doing this. So I'm putting that in a bad perspective for me. I am talking negatively to myself. And so he mirrored that feeling back to me to understand what is it I'm doing when I use that word. I wasn't using it against anybody else. I was using it against myself. So what he asked me was to take that word from my vocabulary.
Yeah.
Take that away as something that I would use. I can use that word in describing that word, or like that, but I never use it as a verb. And so when that first happened, it would slip and I would have that feeling immediately. And I would know, and immediately I would talk to myself, and I would always tell Kashima, thank you. Thank you for letting me know that this is not an appropriate word for me to be using. He's taken
Wow.
other words out of my vocabulary. All of them were things I used against myself,
Mm.
not against
Yeah.
anybody else. And so,
Yeah.
in that teaching, when I understood those things, he mirrored what that felt like,
Wow.
that I was able to let those things go. Now, one of the things he has said as well is do not judge as good or bad. Not gosh, I've probably said this thousands of times through the year. But
Yeah.
do not judge as good or bad. Ask
Mm.
yourself, am I compatible with this energy? And that's exactly what Brian was talking about when someone else was saying something and maybe you don't feel compatible with how they look at something. And what he said was, ask yourself, am I compatible with this energy? And if I am not, just take myself from it. I'm not
Mm.
supposed to go out and badmouth that. I'm not supposed to look at them as doing something negatively. I'm
Mm.
supposed to release that and know that that is not something that I need for me.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, one of the biggest lessons one of the powerful lessons they gave me was they had me in a detached. I was looking at myself from a detached point of view, and I was all the things I judged myself for, or whatever. And they showed me that forgiving yourself is one of the hardest things to do. So they were showing me, and I was looking at myself from a detached, so no emotions involved, all the things I judged myself for, and were showing me, how to move beyond that. But I was also talking about, when I said they mirrors, I agree with what Arla said, but I was also mentioning, like, like you might hear people say, well, I was on a council and I was this and I was this and I was all these different things. And they're going to support that because maybe it could be a lesson in ego and moving beyond ego, because a lot of these things are ego based, right? Like, I was this powerful guy. I was like, I've even heard people say they were like, whatever, historical figures or whatever. And I think that they're not going to tell you that you're not. They'll support it by mirroring that need that you have at the time.
Yep.
But like, I recognize, I think we have to recognize that for what it is. And it might not be reality. It might be an ego thing, or it might be something else going on that you just haven't moved beyond.
Yeah, like if you think it's important, like there's certain things that we think are important because of our society that they might not see as important, right? So like say like say because we live in two different worlds and they do not. They're kind of outlooking, on the outside looking in. So they'll support us rather than being that like that person that just looks at you and says, "Hey, that's stupid. Like I don't agree with that," and just says something at you and talks at you. They will support you and roll with you through it until you kind of come around, and they will give you little bits and pieces and spoon feed you. They're patient with us because
Wow.
right, they're
Yep.
very patient with us in that aspect. And they
Well,
do understand too that there's certain things that we have to do too over here, and it's a tough balance. It's tough to live in two different worlds.
Well, the other thing is that we're in school. Every incarnation is a school. So, they can't, we have to learn the lessons for ourselves. They can't just like give us every answer. Like, no, you're not this, or you're not that, or this is wrong, or whatever. We have to have the freedom of, I'm getting hit up big time. Every time I met Ari's just like, woo, yes, light her up, baby. We have to be able to learn this stuff ourselves. We have to experience it. We have to grow beyond, or whatever, wherever we're headed. We have to do the work ourselves. So that's why, they're not going to. So when you hear a lot of people say stuff that does not resonate with you as far as the Sasquatch messages or whatever, well, that's one of the reasons why is because that's where they're at. That's what they need at the time. And that's what the lesson is for them to move beyond or accept or whatever, whatever.
Wow. These are profound insights. Thank you, Arla, Brian. And how's it going, Mike? We chat a lot and stuff, and it's great to see Mike on here and be on here with him. Amazing person.
His name's
awesome.
actually Big Pasta. I just got to
rectify
that right now.
Marinara.
So like
Marinara? Mike Marinara.
What's coming to my mind is like music. Like music might be important, right? Music can be healing. Music can be amazing, right? Music can be like this wonderful, wonderful tool. It could be healing. It could be, it could bring love and energy and change moods and change vibes or whatever. But I mean, is it important to be a superstar with music? Probably not. Maybe it is, depending on who it is, right? Like, so like, whatever,
I'm just joking.
right? Like,
Yeah.
what?
I raised my hand. No, I'm just joking.
You know what I mean?
When you said superstar in music, here I am. No, I'm just joking.
For years and years working with people, there has been one thing that I've always told them when the subject turns to making music in the woods, whether you're playing the drum, the flute, or where you're actually singing. And I'll tell you what, they love to see Arla listening to ZZ Top. So,
Really?
that's
ZZ Top. It's on,
Really?
put that on your list.
Sharp dressed man.
Yeah, and more.
Yeah.
And I've always told people, I don't know what to sing. I want to please them, all this. And I tell them, if you think you can't sing and you hear that, I can't even carry a tune. It does not matter. If it's in your heart to go out there and make a song out of Mary Had a Little Lamb, then do it.
Mm-hmm.
Do it from your heart. The song doesn't matter. It's what's coming from your heart. And you're seeing that, Martin, Led Zeppelin, people would say, oh, wow, let's go out and have ceremony and do Led Zeppelin or, whatever. But the thing there is you loved it. And that's what they want to see.
You can listen to the most
doing it.
You can listen to the most beautiful classical music in the world and think that, oh, this is what they're going to like because it's so otherworldly and beautiful and whatever. But if you're just like kind of enjoying it, as opposed to Led Zeppelin, that you're really like you're feeling it, you're right into it, they're going to prefer the Led Zeppelin every time.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's not, you don't have to overthink these things. It's just like whatever raises your vibrations and makes you happy is what they want to hear and what they want.
Yeah, but I think that's Martin's like biggest, like that's his biggest asset too, is like that he's so like we might be viewing it as like he's like too like worried or whatever, but like that's him in a nutshell. Like he wants to make sure he's doing the right thing, and like he's like, because he cares so much. It's coming genuinely from his heart. And like, that's what I see. And I'm like I totally respect the hell out of it. Like I really do. And like, I had 5 teeth pulled this, like 2 hours ago, bro. I was not going to miss this. Like, I might not stay too long, but I love you. I respect the hell out of you. And I wanted to be here for a little bit.
Awesome.
We got to also remember, Martin's only been at this for a year, which is not a comment to say, he's
no. It's not a fast track for a year.
It's not a judgment, but I mean, but he's on, it takes time. It's like school.
And he lives with them full time, which is something that we're not all doing, right? A lot of people can't do it. Like a lot of people won't camp for a night. Like, you know what I mean? I only really don't see many people besides like Arla, Mike Patterson, Martin. Not a lot of people will just go out there solo and be amongst them, right? And like he's very, like you said, very new at this, and And it came about because he was camping, and then, you know what I mean? So he's out there with them for long extended periods of time, which is a whole different aspect. You know what I mean? So I'm only going out there and I'm coming back home. You know what I mean? So like,
yeah,
it's a different story.
I've had some of my best experiences when I've been solo camping for sure.
Oh yeah.
Well,
But
you
at the
know,
same, but at the same time, excuse me, just for one side. But at the same time, like Mr. Bean said, once they connect with you, you don't really even. I mean, Mr. Beans has been in the woods one time in 72 years, and he's not missing out on any kind of connection.
Nope.
You know,
Nope.
I mean, they're obviously with us right now, right? Hey,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go make myself a coffee, and I'll be listening though. I'll be right back in a few minutes.
You know, Martin, yeah, physically, you've only been at this a year, but this is old soul stuff for you. This is not like, oh, you know, I'm really new at this. This is, and when I said a while ago that they were calling you home because you've always been a part of them. And now, as this physical human, you are beginning to remember all of that. So, yes, you've only been at this in this physical realm for a year. That don't mean nothing because they've been a part of you for a very long time. And that is being revealed to you as you open up and let go of so many things that really don't serve your soul and them helping you to understand who you are.
That really resonates because, you know, it's funny, without judgment, but I could look back on my life and just say, I don't know why things just didn't, you know, line up, or I failed a lot or whatever. And I'll tell you, I told you about the tough times that I would not want to relive again, and I wouldn't wish it on other people. And I know everyone has the same thing too, not like mine are worse than others, but it's gotten to where I've pretty much felt like this now was worth what I went through.
Yes. Yes.
And that includes I don't know if he'll watch this, but leaving a 10-year-old that I was my son madly in love with. We were attached at the hip, you know, and I talked to God for a long time over that one. And I have to tell you though, Robin McCrae passed on a message one time where they said something like, "We love your love for your son and you will never be alone." And oh my gosh, talk about like taking me to my knees at that. Oh man. But that's sort of the essence that I get from them. That type of.
These are all things that are going to come to you. They will come directly to you. So at some point, you are going to open up to where whatever you ask, they're going to answer. And you will know for yourself, because that's what this is all about, knowing for yourself. And yes, we have to have help along the way. And everybody that has been a part of this help, for everybody, and you know, that's been an important thing in finding your way. But you're coming very quickly to the point to where your answers are going to be there.
Wow.
And one of the things the ancestor grandmothers told me many years ago is that we have all the answers already inside of us. They're already there. All we have to do is have the question.
Wow.
And so everything you need to know is already inside you. It's already a part of you. Yeah. And when you can come to the point to where you trust your question and the answer, I'm excited about that and seeing that
Mm,
for you.
wow,
You know,
thank you.
I agree with my copy's not ready, but I had to come back and because I got excited from some of our Arla's comments there. You know, Arla's had an ancient, like a long relationship with Kashima and stuff or whatever, like it goes back lifetimes or whatever. And I want to say, like, I know that my relationship with RE and that family, it feels very, very ancient, and it feels like it's gone on a lot longer than, you know, like the 12 years when I was called to the mountains to go out and meet him. It's a long century or whatever, 1,000-year-old
Many
relationship.
lifetimes, many lifetimes.
Yeah,
Mm.
and I really do feel that that's, well, I would stake my life on it. That's the same with you. It's not,
Yep.
you know, you just didn't meet him by, oh, let's look this guy up and he looks out like a good dude. No, they already knew. They already knew. You know, you've
Yep.
got a connection with him.
I had a feeling at times where, as I've kind of brushed upon that, I did a lot of seeking, and I just, in a way, I sometimes feel like this is what I've been looking for.
That's exactly true. That's, you did what people do sometimes. You are looking for the answer,
Mm,
for, what it is. Who are you? How do I fit into this? And they knew all along that you were doing this. And
mm.
then it was time. Okay, Martin, get ready. We're calling you. So you're going to have to answer now and start this journey with us. And I
Man,
love your correlations with the other masters and teachers and things that they have brought to us, because it's the same thing that they teach. It's the same thing, like Michael says, the ETs are bringing to us, ascended masters. So many are
mm.
bringing the same outcome, a little bit different story or a path, but it's the same outcome. And that brings us to who we are. And when we begin to understand that, that goes out to everybody and everything. That's what connects us all in such a divine manner, is understanding who we are.
It has really changed me from, I can't really put a finger on what, how, whatever, but part of me just thinks just the time around them and just being alone. But all the solitude, like now, you know, um, like, it sounds kind of glamorous. Like, I'm camping, I can go live wherever I want. Uh, I've got friends that tell me, man, I can't, when I retire, I want to do what you do now. And, um, it came at a price, and it was, oh gosh, I can't even talk, the some of the struggle and the fear, like, cause I bring up the fear because, um,
Mhm.
I don't feel that now. I mean, um, like recently one night when it's just, once the fire is completely gone, I didn't even light a fire every night. And, there's just no light. Um, and I could hear one, they walked up close, probably 10 feet in front of me. And then I heard just crawling just a tiny bit. And yeah, it hits the nerves a little bit. I just think it always happens in the dark. But besides that, like, it was just, this is wonderful, wow, I won't ever say like fear's just gone completely. I don't even know if that would ever happen, but overall, like, it's just just a gift, like, one of you is in front of me. Thank you. Like, just whoever you are. Oh
I
man.
want I want to make a quick point on what Ma said because it's so important. She said that everything goes out. Uh, I guess what she meant was the collective or whatever. That's the thing that we humans have to realize, is that we're all told the lie that we're all so small and insignificant and that we can't change anything. but all our good intentions and all our heartfelt things and all that stuff, it really does go out to the collective and affect everything. So the best thing that we can do is, you know, it doesn't have to be too big. We don't have to look at it as too big or this is too big for me to handle kind of thing. No, you just do your heart work and send it out, because that's how it is. Every thought and action affects everything in that big spider web universe vibration kind of thing. And so that's a big lie. So never ever think, God, what can little old me do? Get in your heart and send that intention out, and that's what we can do, and that's the best thing that we can do. And that's what you were talking about, Arla. I know, and and it's
that
so
that theme of the heart, because I did a little refresh and went back and watched that documentary by Kuwani, Sasquatch Speaks, and I watched the Kate Fern Cedar, which I just feel like is that's just unbelievable. I don't know. I doubt that's a real name, but that theme of the heart, and something that Kate said that I think about off and on, that she received the message that, and it, you know, I just noticed the theme coming from a few people on that thing about the heart and play, so she received the sort of message when she was in this really high state, like you can't stop laughing. She heard from them, we would like you to be like this all the time. And I almost can't wrap my mind around that. Like, really? Like,
Yep.
By the way, Mike, thank you so much for after the getting 5 teeth pulled, and holy cow. Thank you for showing up. Bro. Yeah. Love you too. Thank you. That guy, man, he just helps others. He's just a man of altruism.
Yep.
What I do.
He's a big old rigatoni heart. That's what he is.
He's a badass too.
Yeah. Yeah.
He is.
I wanted to say that I think you're in your right place. You're doing everything right. You just walked away from, or are still in the middle of a gigantic dark night of the soul that few human beings have to go through. Okay, and you probably needed all the love and boost up that you could get, and to get your soul scars healed. You know, and so go for it. You know, I wouldn't worry at all about your relationship with the Sasquatch people. You worry about the relationship you have with yourself. What was it? It was Christ says, "I and my Father are one. I and my brother are one." Right. So there's a unity and devotion to God. Right. And then the greatest commandment. You know how that goes, right? To love God with your whole spirit, with your whole heart, with your whole will, and all the strength of your body. And the second part is to love your brothers as you love yourself. So that's the key. The whole idea is to love yourself, to make yourself whole, make your spirit whole, make your heart whole, make your will whole, and then once you got that self-love thing going on, then that's where you can go and love others as you love yourself. And I think you're in that, you know, you're on that track. That's what you're doing.
That's the hardest hurdle, is to love yourself. That's why I had that thing where they were showing me from that detached point of view about judgment of myself or whatever. That's key. If you don't love yourself, you can't send it out to others.
Yeah.
I can't tell you where it came from, but at some point I suddenly want to eat really good, and I back to the gym, and but maybe one of the most important things for me now, and I wouldn't even think I would even be aware of this. I worked in the city at a law firm right downtown Boston. I had roommates for years. I mean, in that first story I was talking about, I did 4.5 months in a rehab, 6 months in a halfway house, surrounded by every kind of drug addict, bank robbers, heroin dealers, prostitutes. I lived with all them. I was with 150 ex-cons at the rehab, and just the energy, and I find the time alone, I feel like I started to notice when it gets quiet, I guess, where it becomes pronounced to me after I've, maybe had some isolated time. And then I go, even just having a passionate conversation, or like I've become so sensitive to energy. And it's brand new to me. The grounding thing is like, oh my gosh, like that. I need to do that. Mike talks about that. I'm sure you all do, but the energy thing, it's huge for me now. Like, I don't know where that came from, and just wanting to eat better, cutting back on the sugar. I think we were talking about that earlier, and I don't have any sugar in this. I'm not perfect. I smoke, whatever, but just the moving towards healthier, and the energy. I'm really interested for some reason. I can't help but think of the trees and, with energy, ground. And I don't know, but I guess I'm saying is like, it's sort of just, I don't know where it came from,
I'm really excited about you, and that, like, you're getting the same kind of energy nudges and confirmation. We've each had about 3 or 4 in this show. Isn't that quite the gift? And you really trust it, don't you? Like, it's just like, it's like, yes. You're talking. There I go again. You're talking truth. I have it now. Now I'm 5. Oh shit. 5. I'm just joking.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean, though. It's a real confirmation, and you really trust that, because it's like so pure, and it's just like, you just know that, like it, and it's like they're guiding you and encouraging you, and confirming stuff with you all along, and it's just like a real blessing.
That's why I shared some things today, is because I thought about them quick, like starting from the beginning with the disasters in the past, which it's totally fine. I'm not like hung up on it, but when I thought about, should I share like the 28 years ago when I landed in jail and got all that stuff and got sober, and I kind of felt that, and I was like, okay, I'll share that. It does kind of feel correlated to all this,
So
sobriety and like that, all that stuff ties in. Absolutely. I think being sober and getting like clean, you know what I mean? Like, I just talked to one of the guys who I on the team in the Catskills, right? And he said he went to walk in, and the Sasquatch told him, go back and get yourself cleaned up. And he was a painter, so he thought they were talking about his appearance. And I didn't correct him at first, you know what I mean? So he tried again, and he got kind of pushed back, and then he realized what they meant. Like, they were like, get yourself a little more together, because you're not ready for this. Like, you know what I mean? You got a little more self-work before you could step out here. And that's something that I think that held me back too, from having my initial like real contact was like sobriety and like, my little devious ways or whatever the hell I was doing. You know what I mean? So yeah, like a lot of that,
Hey, so hold on a second. When you first felt that energy nudge, like I call it, or that kind of thing, what did you think? And did you know, and did you feel the truth of it immediately, or how did it feel to you?
Meaning,
well, when you got that energy nudge, like, yes, you're on the right track, or yes, you're talking truth, or what were you even having today? The first time you felt it, what did you think?
I should share that, is what I thought. I've felt it a few times today talking to you guys.
Yeah, I know, but initially, what did you think?
What was
when it first happened?
I was thinking, should I share about how the tough time before the tough couple of years before I met them. I believe that's the first time it was like a millisecond thought in my mind as I was listening to you guys. And, it's sort of a question of, should I share? Yes, like sort of a feeling. And I said, okay, I guess I'll share the extreme struggle that led to this situation. Is that what you're asking?
Well, you're not referring to today, right? I'm talking about the first time you felt that energy come in.
Okay. I mean, it's been quite a lot. I'm not sure I can remember the first time, but I definitely go back to speaking with you. Now, it's very similar to what I felt that I talked about earlier when I did like the silent retreat and meditating and stuff a lot. But I don't know if I've ever just felt it like in a conversation like we are here until this stuff, like within the last year. For me, especially from listening to you, Brian, and maybe a few others, but you really make an emphasis point of, wow, I just got buzzed. And partly because of hearing you say that, I think, okay, this person's okay. Or maybe I should say that. Like it's a confirmation guidance. Mm-hmm. I feel if I start talking to someone on the phone and I start feeling that, I feel like, all right, this is a good meeting. I was meant to meet them or something.
Yeah, that's why I don't like the word. Yeah. That's why I don't like mind speak as the term, because it's not like just verbal, right? It's not like just a verbal, like, thing. It's like sometimes it's telepathy, sometimes it's like an energy feeling. Sometimes it's just like a download or a knowing. Like sometimes it's like a little nudge, like you're mentioning or whatever. Yeah, like it's so much more than just like a verbiage in your head.
There's almost like a
Greg Yost is in the house, and Coastal Chick is.
I just camped with Greg a couple weeks ago.
There's almost like
he said hi. He says hi. So
there's almost like a prejudice against, or not prejudice, but it's almost like if you don't get the words in your head, you're not really advanced or whatever. And I've had all of that different stuff, but I don't agree with that.
Yeah,
because it's all equal, and if you really want to get down to the core of it, I mean, if you get a download and you just have an instant knowing, well, you're bypassing the words. So maybe that's
right.
The one,
but that's
So
what I mean.
you can't judge them.
But it does
it's better.
It does people an injustice too. Like as they're trying to learn these things, because they're saying, oh, I didn't get mind speak, because so by calling it that, I feel like people are missing out on like receiving that energy and that, or even that telepathy, because they didn't hear words. So they think that they might just be like, oh, I'm not getting anything. That was just me, or that was just, my thoughts or my gut instinct, right? Or whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
and communication comes in all forms.
Yeah.
One of this must be Kashima's day, but one of the things that Kashima said to me one time when we were talking about pretty much this very same thing, he said, "You humans love your words," and we do.
Yeah.
We actually do. We put so much basis on things being done in words that we forget that there's a whole other ways to communicate.
Yeah. I mean, I've had Ari talk to me directly in my head, but I don't think it was that. And that was a funny situation, but I actually wrote about it in my book, so I won't get into it, but that was not, to me, even though it was amazing, it was not as profound as like getting a download with instant knowing, but I'm not judging either of them, but I'm just saying that, what Big Pastor said there is that, we put these degrees of
categories
better on stuff than other, and I think we're making a mistake on that.
Yeah.
Some things take time. Like I'll give you an example. The Sasquatch tried to show me about no space, and they did it without words. So they're trying to describe and they did it just by poking me to look at this and have things in my head of like, well, what is it like quantum physics? Is it like this? Or, it's just, basically it's none of that. But it took like a year and a half, and I just had to write it out and try to like keep putting it together. And I had to listen to some people who are in unity consciousness and have them talking about how in unity consciousness where everything is one, there is no space and nothing ever happens. These are really hard concepts to get across as words. But but
I don't think you can,
I don't
Beans.
think you
I don't
can,
think,
not really.
because there are so many things that happen that you can't express in words. I cannot express what that love is other than it's a love that passes understanding. That love that Brian calls that feeling. I don't know how that could be put into words.
Yeah.
So that's something that has to come to you that you feel. And it floods every atom in your physical being.
One of my favorite forms of it, and I think a lot, and Mike, Big Pasta, hold your thought.
Yeah.
One of my favorite forms of that I get all the time, and it's really, it's quite amazing, and I think a lot of people get this, and some people might not understand it for what it is, but I think it's a lot more common than people realize. Is one form is that they will give thought placement. They'll put a thought in your head, and then the answer will be right on the forest path right in front of you, or somewhere. It'll come to you right away. Thought, answer. That's like mind speak, telepathy, the downloads, all of this stuff is equally profound. So we can't put values on any of it, like I said. Like I love that kind of teaching. Like, geez, I wonder, and they're putting the thought in my head, and then I get the answer right away, and that happens all the time, and I think a lot of people get that might not realize it. Anyway, go ahead, Big Pasta.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, like, what Arla was talking about, like that overwhelming love, right? Or like that unexplainable love. Like, I had these people who asked me to come and do like a sit down, and like, they were like all interested, and they were all healers and spiritual workers and different things, but they were just had interest in Sasquatch. They didn't know much about it, but so I sat down with them. I was at this person's house, this couple's house, and they held like this thing, and I sat down with them. And long story short, I sit down and I go to like start talking about it, and the energy comes through and it comes on to me, and it's this overwhelming love, and I'm about to start speaking, and I don't know where I'm going to begin, and it hit me so hard that I started crying. Like, I mean, uncontrollably crying. I mean,
hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Ran out of water out of my, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't even have this much water in my body pouring out of me. Just couldn't stop crying. It took me like 15-20 minutes to recover. And I'm trying to like, I'm trying to just get out the words that this isn't bad. I'm just trying to say, like, it's not a bad thing. And I can't even get those words out because I'm, and like, I don't know any of them. I'm in front of a dozen people I don't know in a house I never been to. But what that did was like, it meant something to all of them, right? So it actually, it was more important than me speaking. You know what I mean? Like, and it was man, like, it was. I'm starting to tear up now just thinking about that moment. Like, it was nuts. Like,
or maybe the painkillers
run out. They don't give me painkillers. I get the the veteran special. Get out of here.
Another, so many examples of it, but one way, how I invite people to my camp out or whatever the RE camp out that I just they just let me know. They just let me know energetically. I get this real buzz that this person wants to hear what I'm talking about. They're open to it. and they just let me know this is the person to talk to or whatever. So there's, you know, there's I've got that, like, just shopping and stuff. Look, somebody selling me something, and I just say, hey, you know, and almost inevitably when I get that energy of these people are all right, whatever, they're open to it. None of them look at me like, the fuck, are you weird or something, man?
Yeah,
You
it
know?
always works out. Yeah. It
Hey,
always
Mike,
works.
I gotta say that was your story. It should go down in history right off the bat, right now,
Yep.
as a classic, because I have never heard a better story about being tongue-tied as to what the Sasquatch are all about. I mean, you know,
Yep.
you're balling, and everybody else is like, they get it, they understand. I bet you they know more about Sasquatch now than half the people in the world.
They're all
Wow.
involved. They're
Yeah.
Yep.
all
Wow.
involved.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all
Wow. Yeah.
involved in it. I mean, you won't see them publicly, but they are all in it. Like all involved.
So what were some of the comments of these people afterwards? Like, yeah, I was moved, and wow, that was really profound.
Oh
Or
man. Well, they had all gone kind of first and said why they were there and how, like, kind of like if they had anything that interested them or if they were like skeptics or whatever. After that, we kind of just I couldn't really tell you honestly. I think we just kind of went into like a little bit of like you know, where I had been going from there, and basically I had to remove myself from the Catskill Mountain area, and I had done a lot of work in that region, and I was very happy to see that there were other people that were willing to maybe carry it out. And I kind of told them the importance of where they were and you know what could possibly go on. You know, I kind of touched on my journey a little bit, but I also said I didn't want to put too much into them or onto them to possibly you know, jade or you know, filter what they might get naturally on their own. You know what I mean?
yeah, you crying or whatever is just, that was the best way to connect with them, man. I mean, it's just
It
perfect.
was.
It's
That's
beautiful.
epic. That
Yeah.
is epic.
And but I don't want to hear you crying like a big baby when you come up to Canada, big bud. Oh, grow
I
up,
do.
grow up,
I do.
grow up,
I
grow
do.
up. What's the
I
matter
want to
with you?
hear it.
The greatest
Don't
shows we've ever
listen.
had. We've
Yeah.
ever had is, I think we had three grown men crying on one show.
Hey, I have to
And,
talk
and
about.
Brian starts talking about something. I'm like, Brian, what are you doing? This is epic history.
Yeah. Hey,
He
when
doesn't
you come
care.
up two
Oh,
Italian
you're crying.
stallions,
What about this?
two Italian stallions meet face to face, big pasta and yeah,
You know what else too is when you see a BAMF, you know what that stands for? Badass.
BAMF,
Badass.
MF.
motherfucker.
Yeah, when
Yeah,
you
that's,
see
there it is.
when you see one of them with some tears, it means a lot. You know, that's powerful. You know, you could tell. You talk to Mike, you can tell he doesn't get shook up easy, and he's probably seen a lot, been through a lot. For him to
But
get touched like that's a testimony.
yeah, but he's also a really tender-hearted guy.
Yeah.
He's got a really sweet heart, like, you know,
Absolutely.
You
like
know,
for
the way that
a big tough guy.
you know, the way that house lined up was like, it was like the forest and then the river bend came like across, and then there was a road obviously put there. But the way their house lined up with the forest, and they had these half. I came in and I said, man, I said, there's a reason. I didn't know why, but I said, there's a reason you guys have half blinds. Like the curtains only came down halfway the window, and I said, there's a reason you have half blinds, like half curtains. And I didn't know why, but I said it. You know what I mean? And she's like, oh, okay. And then they had like a plant in that window, and all the windows on these stands. And all of a sudden, the sun came beaming from that forest across that river right into that plant.
Wow.
And it was like you could see the Sasquatch for a brief moment, like take on the shape of like this golden sun, and like standing behind one of the women. And like I just kind of like glanced over and was like, all right, I'm not in charge of this shit. What I'm just, you know what I mean? Like I just kind of glanced over and was like, you got it. Like, you got it, buddy. Like, you know.
Oh man, I just wish you two gentlemen could come up and join our camp out.
It would be awesome.
It would
I'd
be
love
so
to.
amazing. Well, I mean, don't say you love to, do it. You can come up,
Yeah.
can't you?
Yeah, I'm working. I gotta have a passport.
For
So
me,
that's all.
yeah, I got a whole long story right behind me that just a chapter sort of possibly ended like 2 weeks ago with the Massachusetts Department of Revenue.
Oh,
It's been crazy, but so it's hard to plan, but if I can, I'd love to come up there.
Sure.
Well, I mean, I don't want to get into your personal life, but do you have
I
like
don't care.
any reason why you can't cross the border?
My old drunk drivings, maybe. I have a couple of those from 20, 30 years ago, but
I don't know if they find
I've
that
heard
out
in
or
the
not.
past, but and and other reasons they've talked about that we shouldn't talk about. I wouldn't pass that test.
Well,
The poke.
Yeah, I didn't get that.
well, that's not required now.
Really? Okay.
No.
You have the
Oh, you don't need-
Sasquatch poke, and then you have the devil's poke.
I wanted to mention something about the MindSpeak thing and the downloads
Well,
and all that.
You
I
know
was
what?
talking
I just wanted to say something because some people
You're
have
gonna
got
keep
some
going with
people have.
this until we say yes.
No, and I'm sorry for interrupting you, but we can't
Yeah.
we can't be judging people who got the poke or didn't get the poke. It's a
I don't
personal
care.
preference. I didn't get it. I don't want to get it, but a lot of people did, and you know what? It was okay for them and right for them or whatever. So
Right.
so
That's
I could care
exactly
less,
it.
that we got to get away from that judgment, like those
I-
guys and us guys.
I just know around here they actually made legislation and stuff about it. Like you need it for certain things. So I just assumed across the border.
I think that's wrong to try to force people to do something that with their sovereign body or whatever. But when we judge one side or the other, that's not right either. Because Sasquatch are all about judgment. We're putting our judgment into that.
Yeah, I don't give it. I did every one of them. I did all of them. Like for me, it didn't matter. When I was in the army, they stuck me with everything already. So it was for me. It was I got anthrax in me, all sorts of. So whatever they were giving me, I was just like, damn. If I could take my mask off, stick me. You know what I mean? that was my thought process.
Yeah. So we got to get beyond that judgment thing that the Sasquatch all teaches about.
Yeah.
We really have to move beyond that. Because as soon as you go into judgment, you go into that vibration of judgment, which is not good. It's not a high vibration.
Nope.
So anyway.
Yeah. So we're talking about downloads, and man, I had very few people I could talk to about this. And I learned out the hard way. I'm sure like most people, when you just kind of innocently just share with, old friends, family, you kind of assume that old friends, whatever, are going to believe you. And you know how that goes. But so I would talk to my sister, and because we're talking about the different types of mind speak and possibly it's beyond words, downloads, images, everything else. And she, of all people, she's, on the fence, no direct experience, but I would share things that were going on. And she had these insights that to this day, I feel like, where did you get that from? Like, did you receive downloads or something? Because like I had this puzzle that I just didn't know who to ask. One of the experiences I was having, and the question that I had is it possible that this highly evolved being that, by the way, I kept thinking of this funny expression I heard once where somebody was talking like, if you guys are so advanced, where's all your technology and stuff? And to the Sasquatch, and an answer came back and said, you guys are the primitive ones with your spoken language. But, speaking of words, but I thought like, can this highly evolved, possibly, whatever they're capable of, could they like get excited? It didn't make sense to me. I was just trying to make sense of what I'm around, what's around me. And she had this interesting insight that just like, how the heck did you think of that? She's like, I don't know. I just knew it. And she said, of course, and she was like, it's just like with children and then people that are elderly, enlightened masters, they become childlike. Like that's like the wisest thing there is. Like,
oh yeah,
Albert Einstein said something like, the measure of your intelligence is your imagination or something. But like the point is like it's almost like real intelligence is like it's beyond the mind, you know, and it's like real high intelligence, it seems to me, is like being present in the moment and fully expressing. And I'm not trying to act like I'm good at that, but you know, it's like when someone encounters a Sasquatch and it appears like the Sasquatch might have been angry and flipped out, but then by some of the stories it almost seems like they expressed it like a child and it's done. You know, they might have growled quick, just kind of frightened. Maybe I'm just trying to piece it together, but it's like they expressed it like a, you know, that girl Kate. I think she said they never learned to squelch their emotions, like we do. You know, social conditioning. Like you know, when you're in school, you're taught not to show that you're angry. So we teach ourselves not to express, and it seems maybe they just have this healthy emotional relationship where they're, you know, what Kate and Francina said is they're not afraid of their emotions. They just express them. And who was it? Someone else was saying, yeah, if they express an emotion, possibly, then it's over. It's like it never happened.
Michael,
I love that. I love that.
Michael talks about this stuff all the time. Like, just go and let it out. Go,
Mike
yeah,
yes.
Mike Harold.
No, that's
go through it.
Go
through it.
That's profound stuff, and it makes so much sense. Wow, you know,
Kate
like because by holding that in, we just screw ourselves right up, right? Like you know,
it makes sense to me when I try to you know, because I wonder like how could this amazing being that I feel could read my mind. I kind of proved it to myself when I sent out a mental request because someone else tried the same thing and it happened for them. So well, what the hell? So I just did what Sasquatch theory did, but mentally I said, would you push a tree over in my thoughts? And you know what happened? But
did you just come up? You thought of that yourself? That was something that you thought up, right?
To decide to make a request mentally?
No. The letting their emotions, letting everything just go right. You know, that's a profound teaching, man.
Sort of, because
that's a profound teaching.
That's from me sitting alone out there night after. When I first started camping, I'd sit there from 5 p.m. till 5 a.m. with my focus on the forest all night, every night. I started going to bed earlier just because I need to sleep. But another one was, okay, so I listen to people, messages from Sasquatches like Ari and Anku from Arkansas, and the different leaders, the different ones that channeled through Kathleen Odom and stuff. And then I think of Steve Istall and his focus on where's this angry look come from and the growls and all this. And I'm talking to my sister and she's like, that makes perfect sense. Of course. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, why would this, you know, highly evolved being growl? And she's like, because they're so pure, like a guru, you know, it's like we think, oh, it growled at me, so it's angry. It probably feels, and there's that one story of the guy who walked up on one, and you know, it's hard to believe that you could sneak up on one, but it sounds like he did. It makes you wonder if maybe they're a little different when they're in the flesh, you know, maybe. And that one turned around and growled, and the guy's, you know, he's feeling like it's angry at me, but it made this sort of, he's like, yeah, and so these moaning sounds came out. And I just thought, you know, I wonder if maybe he was maybe a little sad, you know, instead of angry. And it would just make sense if you had that healthy emotional ability to just express and have it done with, and then you're not angry anymore.
I don't think necessarily that it didn't know that what was going to happen, or that he was surprised. I don't necessarily think that's true, but you know what?
I try to figure it out.
I got to tell you, like, I don't know everything. Nobody knows everything about them, but we've all had a lot of experiences or whatever. And I must say, of maybe the 200 shows or whatever that we've done, I've never really ever heard anyone say that I didn't kind of have some kind of insight into, or at least considered, or something similar, or that really, really surprised me. But what you said doesn't surprise me, but I never thought of that before. But it makes so much sense.
Wow.
It makes so much sense.
You've heard a lot. I know that because I've listened to hours and hours of you guys, and I've learned so much. So wow.
That was amazing. Like, I'm just vibrating with like that. That was.
What do you mean, the
That was
emotional
really-
thing? What was amazing? The
No.
emotional-
The fact that he said the reason why they let their emotions out like immediately. Yeah, the emotional thing. Yeah,
Absolutely. I've been
yeah,
telling
no.
you that for
Michael
3 years.
talking about this, like,
No,
every
I know.
day.
Yeah, but
just clicked.
we don't listen to each other, right?
Well, okay.
No, but maybe
That's
it's
true.
just the way that you worded it or whatever. But it was like, oh wow, yeah.
You know, I want to add something that I feel like it lines up, and I have this thing where I want to talk about that they're not monsters. I know you all agree, but there's this insight that, once again, Kate from the Fern Cedar, where are you, Kate? She said, because Steve Istall's like, he's trying to wrap his mind around a few things, like, what is it with dogs? What is it that hunts them? And why does so many people feel like they get this look of disgust from them? And she said, and she has the most benevolent experience with them. And she said, because they're so loud and powerful and passionate. And she goes, they are so loud when they're happy that she goes, I cannot imagine if they were trying to put a point across what that would be like. You would make no mistake. Like, if they were either drawing the line for territory, or maybe like Arla talked to me about, maybe it's nothing to do with, you, but it's for your own good, scaring you out of an area to save you from something. They might put a little fear in you to just get you away, or from, remember you said, Arla, running off the cliff?
Yeah. That's our perception.
Right.
And it's our perception of what's a growl and what's not a growl.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the conversation that they have sounds like things that would be a negative to us. Oh my God, they growled at me. Well, sometimes when you break that down, that's not a growl, that's a greeting.
Wow.
I mean, they greet me with what I call a greeting grunt. And and it's in a lot of my audios and one for sure in the one that I call Hi Guys. So we have to look at that too, as to what was that? Was that a growl as we know a growl? Or was that just them being verbal?
That's
I
why
mean,
being in tune is so important. Like, being in tune with them is so important, because, like, my dog growls for everything. He growls when he greets you, when he's happy. Like,
when he's happy.
If you didn't know him and you weren't in tune with him like I am, you might be like, whoa, right? Like, whoa, he growled. Like, oh, is he gonna bite me? Right? Different perceptions. Like, like, I know Bubba roared like a like a African lion one time, because he was happy, because the guy I brought out picked up the gift. He was sitting there and he was like, right? And I'm like, come on, man, it's for you. Come on, man, it's for you. And finally he picked it up and was like, I wonder. And they was like, roar. I mean, the whole forest was like, I can't even explain it to you. Like, we like vibrated, and he put it back down, and he's like, oh, like, maybe I shouldn't take it. I said, no, it's for you. Like, you know what I mean? That was like a happy thing. Like I'll prove it to you. Let's go up there. Like, there's nothing to fear. Like, let's go on up there and check it out. And
we just went a little, just now hit 3 hours, and I think that's about my limit. I'm getting a little tired of sitting here, but this is one of the best shows ever, man. You and I are walking along the same. We have the same roots of this whole spiritual, seeking. Yeah, I was big on that, You're ahead of me because I didn't even find out till I was 70 that this Sasquatch was around. I was, you know what I mean? So
Mm.
60, something like that. Yeah. So yeah, you're gonna have a whole lifetime full of stories pretty soon.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Anyway,
what do you
I'm
guys?
signing off. So
What
everybody
do you
says,
guys? What do you guys want to
Thank
do? You
you.
want to?
love
You
the
want to hang in
show.
for a little bit more, or do you want to wrap it
Yeah.
up?
I can hang out, but it's up to you guys.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to go too because I've got
Okay. Well,
things I
why don't we? Well, we'll have you back on, Martin. But
Mhm.
that'd be
why don't we
awesome.
ask? Why don't we ask you? Why don't we just ask you the question we ask everybody, and that is how has your life changed since you consciously were connected? Because I believe you were subconsciously connected to them, but consciously connected to Sasquatch. How has your life changed?
How has my life not changed? No,
Nice.
okay. I have this love for like everything now. Like I like I can't just go killing. Even I had a mouse in my car, and I actually asked a friend if she felt it would be okay if I put a mouse trap, and I decided not to. I went a natural route. Uh, uh, and it's not, people have this oneness stuff. I don't really feel like we're all one strongly, but there's kind of a love for everything, nature, people, and the one of the biggest changes for me, I think, is this sort of awareness of energy, my energy, and just everything to do with that energy. And I believe now that some of the stuff we see in fictional movies, maybe that was a true story.
Mhm.
Some of those myths that movies are about that we think are fake. The forest is magical, and I, as Mike Patterson calls it, this enigma is just it's just the most incredible. I feel like the most incredible thing I've ever had on my mind to think about and wonder about and talk to people. And then this community of, I love all of you guys. I feel like we're all relatives, and I love this community. And I've met the most amazing people through this. And somehow from somewhere I've I don't know what sets you off one day when you want to focus on something like energy or whatever. It's not like a requirement of life. I think it's a good thing if you can go those directions, but that came from somewhere. Maybe it's from this. And boy, like there is a lot. There's this whole other realm. I don't know what you'd call it, that just opened up to me. And my gosh, like Sasquatch are real. Like I still like, oh my gosh. It's the weirdest thing, like how that can still be like unbelievable, but it's the most thrilling discovery, I think. And I I feel absolutely, anyone that hasn't heard all this me talking today, I have to mention that my experiences have been positive and of a loving nature. I don't know if there's an angry one in Alaska. I sometimes joke, maybe they moved up there to get away from people, just like the people that moved up there to get away from
Yeah.
people. But but that's all I can speak on as my experience. And people like yourselves, I can't even talk about, explain how much you've helped me. You guys sharing this stuff. My gosh, I don't know how many people I'm speaking on behalf of, that you guys opened up and shared this. I consider it to be sacred knowledge, and taking the risk of speaking publicly about, I know Arla, you've been through it. I wouldn't be surprised if you all have. And I'm just so thankful for all of you, for Mike and anyone watching, and these incredible Sasquatch that I have more questions than answers about, but just a tremendous love for.
Let me just ask you one more thing. So what is your dad going to think of this? You said he was watching, right?
I don't know, ex-military. He's a very highly decorated fighter pilot. Is Top Gun, all that stuff. It's not really the kind of stuff that we talk about too much. But he's open-minded. He's an amazing dad. He's helped me so much in the last couple of years. Gosh, we haven't. We've had it rough sometimes. We're not best buddies, but my mom, she's told me in a message she loves him. From what I've shared with her, I don't think she really believes, and that's okay. For me, I didn't really believe until I started hearing trees breaking. Even though I had heard a lot to be pretty convinced. So anyone that has trouble believing, I get it. I no judgment. I don't blame you. It's a hard one. It's a hard one to wrap the mind around. There's so many questions, but love you, Dad, Katie, Mom. Oh my gosh, there's so many people at Coastal Chick, L and RG, Mike, right? And Janelle,
Hey.
and gosh.
Coastal Chick's going to be there, man. I mean, you got to come up.
She's
you know what
been
I would.
amazing to talk to. Oh my
Well,
gosh.
I'd
That's
like
all
to.
right.
I'd like to
I'm
take a
just
quick.
joking.
I'd like
Hey,
to take a quick second and just say
Just-
thank you to your father for his service. Those pilots, like over in Afghanistan, those pilots bailed us out all the time. Like me and a lot of people wouldn't be standing here without like the 810 pilots and all those guys. So hats off. Thank you.
Hey, you know what?
Thank you. He'll appreciate that.
Hey, you know what? I got a feeling that even if your parents don't believe some of the stuff that
It's
we're talking
okay.
about, I bet you that they are happy for the change in the heart-centered self that they see in you.
Yeah.
My
You know? You know what I mean?
gotta-
Whether they believe in it or not, the changes that are happening within you, they've got to appreciate.
well, I got much closer with my dad this last couple of years, and it's been amazing. Just I've been pretty upfront. I shared some weird stuff with him immediately, maybe a little too much, but he's been wonderful with just being open-minded and saying, I might not have known about that, but I can't say it's not true. And so there's been some family members, my sister, mom, that have been supportive, and I'm so grateful, because it can be tough given a knowledge like this, and you know how it goes when you go sharing it with people.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, I just wanted to say thank you for coming on, and also because you're early on in your lessons, wasn't things are going to just continue, and it's just going to get better and better, and more will be revealed, and I think eventually you're going to get that oneness thing too. At least I hope. But that said, you can come on the show and give us some updates, or even join us as like we have people on just sit in, like Big Pasa and Ma, and actually they're kind of part of the show. So, but you know what I mean. You're welcome to you're welcome to step in and join us anytime, and we want to hear from you. And I'm excited for your journey, man. It's definitely you're on the right track. You're definitely on the right track.
It's just such a gift. Every night I just tell them it's such a gift. Thank you. I feel, I'm still technically homeless. I moved into a tent by necessity, and I'm so grateful for it. So many gifts out of this period of time, and just really grateful now. I've turned some corners, and and then meeting people like yourselves, wow.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thanks. So on behalf of Port Cunningham and the world's handsomest man, this has been the Pork and Bean Show. Thank you to Martin Lotsberg. Thanks to Mike Colantonio, and of course Arla Collette. And we love all you guys. We love the people who are listening. And this has been a great show. This is one of the really good shows that we've done. And Yeah. And like I said, when you told me, it made so much. I just never thought of it quite like that, but how they would just let all their emotions go immediately because when we hang on to that stuff, that damages us, and that's how we get all screwed up or whatever. So they know to just and man, that just makes so much sense.
Yeah, it's a focal point of mine too. I don't know if I talked about it too much, but in this quiet time, I realized something I've been struggling with, and it's subtle, is anxiety. I never really thought I was, and I realized, gosh. And so I'm learning from that. It's something I'm, growing
Yeah.
in.
Anyway, go ahead, Mike.
Just very briefly, I don't know why they're punching this into my head, but it's like every time I keep trying to push it off, and it's like, say it, and I'm like, all right. Like one of the things was like we were talking about perception briefly and like different fears and things like that, and like I know we talked once, Martin, about how like they throw rocks by your tent and stuff.
I love it.
And I remember you were like kind of struggling with it, and they were like, make sure you tell him we're protecting him. And like,
wow.
And they were putting like, when they had to leave the area for Martin, they were putting like a protective energy type thing that other beings could see. And they were like throwing it around his tent before they left. Wow. So that like they could see, so that he was protected.
Wow.
And, so there was a perception on the rock throwing as something negative sometimes, but like that was something that like they really like forced me to like tell him, and now tell you guys now too. So
wow.
I apologize because I know that was our private conversation, but like they're like beating it into me. Like so I tried to put it off.
Who's Mike Bluler?
Oh, he's a good guy. He had a wild experience.
Yeah, because he just said, I'd like to meet you one day, Pork, and I just got hit up with a big energy when I read that, like a big time energy rush. So I guess maybe
I'll introduce you guys.
Hopefully we will meet. But honestly, I can't stress enough. This is going to be a very important camp out. It's not my camp out. I just facilitate it. It's the RE and family camp out, and they host it, and it's theirs. And I just got a feeling that you guys should be there.
I think it's a huge honor.
Because there's going to be a lot. There's going to be so many beautiful souls there. I mean, people like Tish Paquette, who's just a wonderful, wonderful lady. Arla and Coastal Check, and just some amazing. Everybody that's going to be there is supposed to be there, and is amazing. And I know I'm forgetting some names, but anyway,
you're getting old.
I invited Robin McRae up too. I know. I don't know if she can make it or not, but there's going to be some good people up there, and if you can possibly make it, both of you guys. I know it'd probably be harder for Big Pasta with your kids and everything, but you never know. But anyway, it's September 18th to the 23rd. And like I said, I pay for everything other than you just got to get up there.
Wow.
Well, and you got to have some food or whatever too. But if you don't have food, we'll feed you too if we have to, I guess.
Yeah, I'll definitely be thinking about it and hoping to go. And
maybe I could just get a plane ticket or something. I'll figure it out.
Or Ma just did that.
Yeah, I'll see how much it costs. I'll figure it out.
Do it now.
I can't do it. It's gonna take me right up to that point to save, but if I can.
It'll come. Believe me, it'll come. I didn't have it either, but it came.
Do you have passports?
No.
Do you?
I'm very sneaky though. I'll get in. I'll get in the cubby hole of the plane. No, I don't have one yet. No.
Well, that might be an issue.
Of course, that was the whole thing. Yeah, I got to get a passport first. Yeah.
Got to get a passport.
By the way, Arla, that video that you just did was awesome on that Flash of Beauty YouTube channel. And
I was thinking about it
with the levitation. You know what I'm talking about.
Yep. Yep.
Wow.
That was, yeah, that, I mean, those guys are like family. Jill and Brad have both been here on my home, and yeah, it was good. The paranormal one is gonna knock a lot of people's socks off. There's some really, really cool stuff.
They did
Wow.
the Flash of Beauty guys did a paranormal one.
They're
Yeah.
working on it. It should be out this fall.
Part 2.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
I would-
So,
I would have loved to. I would have loved to have been on that.
yeah, I haven't seen it, but some people saw the preliminary. But if you haven't seen the first one, The Flash of Beauty,
I'm missing
Amazing.
that.
it's
So
free
good.
to see on Tubby.
Oh,
So good.
that's why. I got it. Yeah, I'll check it out.
Really
I have
good.
seen it. I have seen it. So what are you doing? You're going all over the place again, Ma. Like ever since you've been on the show here, it seems like you're on every show. So what do you got going on? What do you got going on?
I leave this next month, probably on the 8th. Jonathan and I are going to drive, and we'll be with Barb and group in Washington. Man, I got to go by and see Bob Gimlin before I come back home, him and Judy. And then I come to British Columbia, and then next year there's going to be a solar eclipse gathering here, and there are people coming from Washington that are going to be there too, and from Michigan and Georgia, and pretty much all over that they're going to come. And
Yeah.
we're all going to go to the Bigfoot Museum in the parking lot and watch the eclipse. So
Very cool.
Yeah. So we
That'll be
didn't
fun.
get it. We didn't get a chance. We'll do it maybe soon, but we didn't get a chance to share the Arla's first encounter with Ari.
Oh, I'm
That-
sure
that's-
we
that-
will
Yeah,
before
we'll
I
do
come.
that again. That's hilarious. But I do want to say one thing. And Ari is really, oh man, he likes this. What I'm going to say now. I'm getting hit up. He says, I hope I'm getting this right, but didn't he ask you, are you going to come back?
Mhm.
And you said, why do you ask me a question you already know the answer to? Well,
Yeah.
now we know
Yeah.
the answer, right? 'Cause
That's
you're
yeah.
coming
that's-
back.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
I am.
Why do you ask me a question you already know the answer to? That was funny
Yep.
because you
Yep.
guys both did that. And
Oh yeah, we sparred back and forth with our wittiness. So, that was
Well,
fun.
Ari, well, now you know. He knew anyway. You know, these
Oh,
guys,
yeah.
they
Yeah.
know, but just fun.
Yep.
But anyway, you are coming back, and so that's coming to fruition, and it's going to be great.
Yep.
Okay, guys. Thanks everybody. Big Pastor, we really appreciate you, man.
Mm.
The
Yep.
heart and soul you put, the way you support our group and the way you go in the
Yep.
chat and all that
You're
stuff. man.
awesome, dude.
We just love you, man. I mean, I don't mention it enough how much we appreciate the stuff you do. It's just
Well,
great, and then and then having somebody like a wise keeper of wisdom like Arla on the show, and then well, and then and just all the beautiful guests that we have. I mean, it's just such a blessing.
It's awesome.
And then Mr. Beans ain't a bad guy either, so
No, he is the handsomest man in the world.
yeah,
So
he actually is.
I
yeah.
mean, what do you get? You get a mature woman bringing wisdom. You get the handsomest man in the world. You get the big pasta,
Mm.
and then we have the white-haired boy. So
I call him the silver fox.
yeah,
White-haired boy, yeah. I can't even imagine. He must have been laughing. He had probably had a grin from ear to ear when he said that.
oh yeah, he loves that. He Love that for sure. The white-haired boy,
Anyway.
the nosy white-haired boy. But he didn't
Oh,
say
that's what
that.
he
I
said.
said that.
Now I get it. That's funny.
Yeah, you know what? What you want to end with that story? Should we tell it? It's not that long. Should we tell it?
Oh, you tell it and you go fast, cause you do it faster than I do.
Okay, so we're all guided to things. There's no coincidence or whatever. So, but I want you to add into it too.
I will.
So this is very early on in my journey or whatever. So, I wasn't ready to see them or anything yet or whatever. That took like actually 3 years. And when I did see them, I realized that's not the most, all the lessons I had before that were far more important than the actual sighting, although it was a profound sighting and there was a big message behind the sighting. It wasn't just a sighting. But anyway, so I was not ready to see one in the physical at that time. So Arla and I, we went up, she was up here visiting, and we went up on this special trail, and all of a sudden she's looking up on the hill, way up in the mountain. She says, "There's Ari." And she said, "He's huge." And she was just like, "He's huge." And his head is like massive. And she said that she'd never seen one that big, at least not height wise. Seen maybe one or so a little taller, although he is over 12 feet tall, but his girth just incredibly big. And so she's looking up, and they're talking back and forth, and Arla keeps saying, "There he is, have a look." And every time that I tried to look up there to see him, he would duck out of sight or just disappear or whatever. And behind me, there was like, can you hear that? Anyway, behind me there was like knocking, like wood knocks, like on steroids. Every time I tried to look up, there'd be knock, 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 knock. I'd look around, and then he'd appear. And then when I looked up, try to see him, knock, 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 knock. So they were the little guys were distracting me when I was trying to see him. And so anyway, they were having this conversation, and I've never seen Arla's got some First Nations in her or indigenous. And a lot of these people, they don't like to tell you. They want you to discover stuff for yourself, and they're not real expressive as far as emotions. Very I don't know. Anyway, I'm not saying they're not emotional or heartfelt. That's not true. But they anyway, I'd never seen Arla so emotional. Put it that way. She's looking up and she's crying and laughing at the same time. It was so profound. And one of the exchanges they were exchanging barbs back and forth, like witty stuff. And Arla, what did you say to him? Do you remember? And then you got the response, and he asked you, "Why do you ask me a question you already know the answer to?"
Yeah.
What did you say?
I just asked him something, and he said back to me, "Why do you ask me that when you already know the answer?" Well, then a little later, before we left, he said to me, "Are you coming back, little one?"
Yeah.
And I said, "Why do you ask me a question you already know the answer to?" It just popped out. I didn't have any forethought of answering him like that. It just popped out.
And he laughed like a big, huge laugh, right?
Yeah.
So,
and
and he also told you a bunch of stuff. And the other thing is when I saw you so emotional, is that he gave you a gift that you had said you had never experienced anything quite like that before, in the form that he sent her a big cartoon kiss. Was it to your heart, or
it was a heart with big red lips on it.
Wow.
Like that showed extreme love. I mean, because we look at a heart as a symbol of love, and to place your lips on that love signifies how much you honor that love.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it wasn't only that you saw it, you felt it.
I felt it. Yeah,
You
I
felt the
felt it
cancer.
on my heart, and I saw my heart, and I saw those big red lips on my heart.
And
And
yeah,
yeah,
go ahead.
it just reminded me of something too. I'll put it in here real quick. After the wreck, they found out that I had a nodule in my left lung. They've watched it for a while. Well, it became cancerous, so I had to have surgery for them to take out part of my lung. Well, I was sitting in the doctor's office, and he was showing us the CT scan of it, and he had to leave and go out to talk to somebody, and my daughter and I were sitting there looking at it, and it was looking down from the top down onto my lungs, and she said, "Mom, there is a heart on your lungs." And when we looked, and I've posted that photo before, there was a heart in that CT scan over that lung that had the cancer in it.
Wow.
Wow.
So
So you pretty well knew you were going to be fine when you seen
yeah,
that.
but the heart thing is so important. It's how we humans think of when we see a heart, we think of love, and it's a symbol that we use for love. So, and those red lips just spoke so much to me that that heart was sealed with that caring. And I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, he cares for me in a way that, once again, passes our understanding.
Wow.
Yeah.
But those symbols that we as humans use, he used.
Yeah. Yeah. And you
Wow.
guys should have seen Arla. She was like
Yeah.
literally.
Wow.
Well, I read sometimes she was laughing, and then she was just at that point she was just crying with like
Yep.
pure joy. It was just like, wow.
I think you understand that, Martin, and the big pasta, how that can
Yes.
happen, and taught too.
To
Yeah.
my knees. Yes.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah. So
Wow.
so you're coming back, and it's going to be wonderful. And I wonder what he has in store for us.
A lot.
I guess we'll find out, won't we?
Yep. Anyway, guys, thank you so much.
Make sure you
Thank
guys
you.
check out his YouTube channel, Camping
Yes.
with Sasquatch. The
He's
link
got
is
some good
the link
stuff.
is in there. I put the link in there
Yeah.
somewhere. So just
Thank
search
you.
it.
And don't forget
Yes.
to like and subscribe to the Pork and Bean Show on Facebook,
And YouTube.
and on YouTube it's Sasquatch BC, the true story. And we got
Yep.
every episode of the Pork and Bean Show and a bunch of other good stuff that right from the heart of RE and his family. Because without him, actually, this show wouldn't even exist.
Nope.
I credit RE with this show.
Oh yeah,
Truthfully.
this show is way bigger than us. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, I mean, like I came up with the idea, and I'm not patting myself on the back, but I came up with the idea, and I'm sure it wasn't totally my idea. Put it that way. They guided me, and so thank you, RE.
Yep. Bye, guys. It's
Bye-bye.
3:33 here in Oklahoma.
Alrighty. See you guys.
Awesome.
Martin, we will have you back on. Big Pasta, you're always welcome to come back on. And thanks everybody for watching. We love you all. And I think we got another couple shows coming up this week or soon, including one on a near-death experience, guy. That is going to be amazing. It's not going to be about Sasquatch, but it's going to be amazing. I reached out to this guy. I heard him on another podcast, and I just said, I got to get this guy on there. So
Very
That's
cool.
love you. Love you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.